Glenn Clark Radio, talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuff and things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
And good morning. It is a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. Lots to do on the program today. Obviously, we'll have a thorough breakdown of Ravens-Colts. Looking forward to that.
You're welcome.
We will actually preview Rick Venturi, former Baltimore Colts assistant, Indianapolis Colts color analyst. He will join us ahead of tonight's preseason matchup. We'll catch up with our friend Buck Showalter after he made his appearance at the Savannah Bananas over the weekend. And we will also meet Brandon Butterworth, who was acquired in the Ramon Laureano, Ryan O'Hearn. How about Ryan O'Hearn hitting his first home run as a Padre last night, tying the game as the Padres rallied to beat the Diamondbacks?
Why couldn't he do that here?
But hit any home runs?
Yeah.
I think he had a couple. I think he had a few. But we'll meet Brandon Butterworth, part of that trade between the Orioles and the Padres, as he is now with the Chesapeake Baysox. So all of that on tap. Can you please go ahead and update the and then we'll put that up on the board, because believe it or not, the Orioles won a baseball game. No. It's crazy. I didn't know that such a thing was an option. But they did win a baseball game yesterday. Man of the match will be brought to you today by Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, Frederick, and Columbia. Love me, Game Day Men's Health. They have been beneficial for me in my life. Men of a certain age, we just don't necessarily feel like ourselves any longer, and they want to change that. GameDayMen'sHealth.com is the website. Sign up for a complimentary testosterone test. You might do it and, like me, find out you ain't low T at all. But that doesn't mean you don't still feel sluggish or run down or just dealing with So they got you covered. Peptide treatment has been wonderful for me. It's very simple. At night, I just take a peptide, dissolve it right there. They call it the buccal system. Dissolves. There's no taste. It doesn't go that way. And in the morning, I don't feel like I go through the process anymore. I just wake up and I'm like, all right, cool, let's go. Rock and roll. I can't tell you that it's a miracle. I can't tell you that it's going to make you feel 30 years younger, but I can tell you that it'll help. And you might be dealing with other issues as a man of a certain age. You might be dealing with ED. You might be dealing with stubborn belly fat that just won't go away despite the fact that you feel like you're doing the right things. Metabolism changes. These are tough things to talk about with the boys when you go out to the bar on a Friday night. It's not necessarily at the top of the set list. It's my favorite thing ever. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the comedian who posts that her dad goes to the bar every Friday night with a set list of topics to talk about.
You're saying ED's not on there?
I don't think they're like, hey, man, can you still please the old lady? I don't think that's where they start. Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, 443-264-4454. Also located in Columbia. You can give them a call there, 443-266-3505. Or if you're packing up your game and you're headed out west, Game Day Men's Health in Frederick, 240-931-3717. Game Day Men's Health. Trevor Rogers, excellent once again yesterday. Not quite as dominant based on the Trevor Rogers standard. as
one
we
of
have
his worst
seen.
starts, I guess.
Yeah,
as
legitimately.
an Oriole.
Perhaps his worst start this season. I don't think that's true. I think there was one. Wasn't there one clunker in there early? Like
Yeah,
the second
against
start was
the
a
Rays. It was the
Yeah.
8-0 game. That was the one it started with him.
Oh, is that?
I mean, they pulled him in like the third inning, so he didn't get the tag for the loss.
Okay.
But
God, I've forgotten that was who had started that game. But he did put 10 runners on base over the course of 6 innings. And so that's the only reason, despite the fact that he only gave up the 1 run, that's the only reason why he wasn't the choice. And
well,
instead,
that's why it almost felt somehow more impressive. And he wasn't getting much help from the defense. It felt
I agree
either.
with that. Well, I don't know if it's really on the
I'm thinking
defense.
about the one that sticks out
if
is the Carlson triple.
Okay,
Like,
if you want to say that like there was some bad luck in there, some balls that weren't really particularly hard hit that just happened to dunk in, right? Like, yeah, there was some of that. But ultimately,
and anytime, I don't know, maybe I'm just so used to stars killing the Orioles, so anytime you're able to get Schwarber and Harper out consistently, it feels...
yeah, and that image of like Schwarber
Yeah.
being very frustrated
Yeah.
by the changeup was pretty good. Look, ultimately, Trevor Rogers was plenty good, but it was just enough for me to consider otherwise, and the big blow, the game kind of turned because of one swing. First pitch, home run from Coby Mayo, 3-run shot. It was part of a 2-hit game, and that Weaver is enough for Coby Mayo to get his second man of the match of the season.
Smothered and covered.
Yeah, have we gotten any update? Can
No,
we just-
I
can
don't
you
know
do
if
me a
anyone
favor?
else is...
Can you just send Kevin Brown a text?
Okay.
Because I don't think he could come on unless we run it through the Oriole. I don't want to go through all that, right? Like it's too much. But just tell him that we were talking about it and wanted to know if there was a story. Not like it might be nothing. It might just be something he wanted to include in a home run call, and I love that if that's the case because I do stuff like that all the time. A lot of people don't know, like my 3-point call. If somebody switches a 3-pointer. My call is go, and it goes down smooth. And everybody assumes that's just like a reference to a liquor going down smooth, right?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It is not. It
it's
is
a strikeout.
It is a Lake Street Dive song. Lake Street Dive is one of my favorite bands, and they have a song called You Go Down Smooth. And I was listening to it one day, I think as I was preparing to do a basketball game, and I said, that would be a good call. I'd like that. So I went with it. Now, it became a thing, and people liked it, so I continued to do it, and it became part of the repertoire. It has nothing to do with the player. Do you have it?
What?
You have the video
of
Coby Mayo's home run.
What do you want me to do? Text him or?
Yo, you need to. I don't know what got into you today. Whew, buddy.
I'm the only one here.
Well, I'm aware.
No, I don't have that.
Okay. This is what
most of the highlights I could find anyway cut off before I think
he said the
maybe not. I don't know.
Smothered and covered. I feel like we watched it again and we heard him say it.
I mean, okay. I'll look
feel
into
like-
it. I'll look into it in a
I
second.
feel like that's the case. So it might be that it has nothing to do with Coby Mayo or. I was not paying 100% attention to the broadcast yesterday. We were doing some work after the show, and I just didn't have undivided attention because, as you would imagine, it's tough to give the Orioles undivided attention at the moment. But all of a sudden, the Coby Mayo hits this home run, and there's this prolonged call, but it ends with he smothered and covered the ball, which, of course, is a reference to how you can order your hash browns at a Waffle House. Scattered, smothered, covered. I feel like there's one other one. What's the other one?
What?
Waffle House?
Oh, from
The way that you can order your hash browns. Scattered. Chunked is the other one. Scattered is spread out on the grill for maximum crispness. Smothered, onions are sautéed and added on top of the hash browns. Covered, American cheeses melted on top of the hash browns. Chunked, diced ham added to the hash browns. So you can order it, all of those. You can say, I want them scattered, smothered, covered, and chunked. Or you can just say, I want them scattered and chunked. Whatever it is that you're looking for in your hash browns, that's how you can order them at your neighborhood Waffle House, which is open during a hurricane. So I just didn't know if there was a story that, like, Coby Mayo loved him some Waffle House or what it might be. I was interested in that part, or that they were talking about the Waffle House like an inning earlier, and I was just looking for that, and I never got any clarity. And I tweeted him, or I tagged him in a tweet that I mean, he didn't respond, and I don't know if that's a personal thing. I don't know.
I'll ask him about that too.
Do you think
if he gets back to me?
Is
Maybe he won't get back to me either.
Is it possible he hates us? That would be a bummer. I think we've always been cool, right? Like, have I ever said anything negative about Kevin?
I do think I have. You went the whole call, or we just skip to the end? I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, or you were a big fan of when he got suspended. I remember.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah. I was like, yeah. Teach that man a lesson for whatever he did.
Pretty sure we've definitely had him once since. But
I mean, like, I think. I know we don't have him on as much as we used to, but, like, it's not a personal thing.
You want the whole call or just, like, skip to the end?
Well, I don't know. How long is the whole?
Like 35 seconds.
It's dicey. I never know what's going to be the one.
All right, we'll start halfway through.
All right. So Coby Mayo hits a home run yesterday. This is, I assume.
Absolutely leaned on it. Coby Mayo with his 4th home run of the season. Smothered and covered a Suarez changeup to make it 4-0.
So
Orioles hadn't scored in
it would
18.
associate smothered and covered again being onions and American cheese as well. So is it uniquely those two? I mean, I guess it makes more sense than chunked. I don't think he would say he covered and chunked that ball. Like, that wouldn't make any sense at all. I just don't know what the story is, and I'm interested. I think the problem is sometimes, and this is, I worry that Kevin like thinks that I'm making fun of it. I'm not. I love it. I just want to know the story. That's it. This is nothing more than curiosity. That's it. This is a curiosity situation. What's the story? I would love to know. And I don't have it.
There's no real story besides this is from Kevin Brown.
Oh, okay.
No real story besides I just used that phrase once and liked it. Ha.
I mean, sometimes that's the way that it goes. I like it. I like it. I was hoping that there would be a story like, you know, when we were in whatever town, Coby Mayo asked me to go to the Waffle House or something like that. That was selfishly, I was rooting for a story like that. That would be good. It's okay even without a story. We're cool, right?
I think so.
We're cool. Anyway, the Orioles win 5-1 yesterday over the Phillies, so they do salvage one game and avoid the sweep. Now they'll come home. They'll take on the Athletics this weekend, and boy, when you see those probable pitchers lined up, like, no, everybody's just doing their job. I'm not mad at it, but when like people start tweeting out Orioles probable starters for the weekend, and the names you see are Sagano, Young, and Povich, you're just like, oh.
They've had good starts, each of them, at some point.
At some point.
Yeah.
At some point. They have all had, I think Brandon Young's had one.
Yeah.
Cade Povich.
That last one. He's had one.
Has he?
Yeah, I think it was last season.
If you remember, you had to remind me
season.
about that. And, yeah, there was some, at some point earlier this year, even Sagano had some good starts. So that's what's going on with the Orioles. The other big story today related to the Orioles is that they have announced some.
Oh, he went 6 2/3, allowed 1 run and a loss to the Nationals.
Last year?
Earlier this year.
Who did? Cade Povich?
Povich, yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Well, because, yeah, they lost. They lost to the Nationals. We were too busy stewing and
losing
to the Nationals.
Yes, losing to the Nationals. A lot of people do that. They're called losers.
Nationals.
The Orioles announced some changes to their ticket policy, and there's a couple different ways of reading into it. One of the ways you can read into it is they are reorganizing. That's one way that you could look at it. Another way to look at it is that
he went 7 1/3 scoreless against the White Sox last year.
Thank you.
Cade Povich did. I knew he had one in there.
Thank you for getting to the bottom of it.
Second career start, he went 6 scoreless against the Braves.
The other way of looking at it is that they are raising ticket prices. And it's complicated because these are all for plans, and they're changing the plans, and so doing the math. The Baltimore Sun says the math is that prices are going up 3%. So when you read it like that, when that's the headline, you're furious. The way the Baltimore Banner wrote it up was more, here's the headline, the Orioles announced modified season ticket packages for 2026 season. So they're changing, like, there's not going to be a 13-game plan anymore. They're going to have a full season plan, a 40-game plan, a 20-game plan, and then they're going to have a 10-game plan that's not really a membership plan. You don't get all of the additional benefits that come with being a quote-unquote season ticket holder if you're a 10-game plan member, but it will still be an option for people that had a 13-game plan and don't want to bump it up to 20 games. There's no getting around this part. It's not inherently a criticism. It might be nothing more than bad luck. But the part there's no way of getting around is that there's nothing, you can't do this right now and have anyone be on board with it. If the Orioles were in the throes of competing to win the AL East, they looked like a surefire playoff team, a team that had some vibes that maybe they could make a playoff push. No one's ever happy when you make changes, and particularly if it involves an increase in price ever. There's never going to be anybody that's going to be happy about that. But it is dramatically more palatable if you're competing and you're doing something. Dramatically more palatable. Way easier for fans to not freak out about it. No one's ever going to be happy about it. One of the responses you're going to get right now is like, how about you just put a winning team on the field? Well, even if you had a winning team on the field and you said, hey, we're going to raise prices slightly, nobody's going to say, okay. Like, it's just not going to happen that way. They're going to say, well, typical money grab. You get good, now you just want more money. Like, they're going to say those things because no one's ever going to be happy about that, nor should they. Why would anyone want to pay more money? Who's ever in their life said, you know what I'd really like to do is pay more money for this thing that I'm currently paying for? Never happens. But at least in that moment, it's swallowed up quickly. It's not something that will be continued to be discussed. This is about framing. It's a communication theory topic, right? Like, framing now becomes, as the Orioles struggle down the stretch, you're going to have people saying and thinking and tweeting and, if people still call radio shows, I don't know if that happens anymore, but saying, oh, they're bad and they want to raise ticket price. Like, this is the framing of the messaging. Obviously, the plan, I think, for the people that make these decisions was not to be woeful this season. And they put the plan in place. They're not going to abandon the plan because the team's woeful. But there's no getting around it. It's not ideal. It's not great. And again, whether you call it just change or you call it a raise in ticket prices, look, whatever you want to call it. What they can say is, we're not forcing you to buy more tickets. As I said, they're offering if you're a 13-game plan holder, you can do 10 games if you'd prefer. That's still going to be an option. We're not forcing you to buy more tickets. But you're going to lose some of the benefits that come along with being a 13-game plan holder if you don't bump up to 20 games. So they're not forcing you to, but they are certainly encouraging you to buy more games without the promise. And this is where messaging becomes an issue. I get back to framing. It would be great if the messaging that came along with it was the messaging of an ownership representative, whether that's actually David Rubenstein or Michael Arrighetti or Cal Ripken or someone designated to be that person. That Katie Griggs is very capable of explaining the message. She does well in explaining the practical side of what they're doing moving forward. But she's not an ownership representative. She can't step up and say, hear you me. We are hell-bent about winning. We recognize what the problem was, and we're going to fix it. Because goal number one remains winning a World Series. If that messaging could come along with this announcement, it would just go a long way to assuage Orioles fans who find themselves saying, we stink and you're raising ticket prices, or we stink and you're asking me to buy more games. I wrote about it a couple weeks ago. It just they could really use a voice for the ownership group. Someone who can step in. You can say, well, hey, Mike Elias apologized for how the season's gone. Right, but Mike Elias also didn't commit to, because Mike Elias isn't a representative of ownership. He might be privy to their plans. Some people would say, does he know he's part of the plans? I mean, ownership hasn't said so. They're certainly putting him out there and allowing him to speak as though he's going to continue to be part of the plans. And I've heard nothing that would suggest otherwise to this point. But messaging goes a long way. And the messaging of we're changing ticket plans, we are raising prices / asking you or requiring you to buy more games, that's a tough pill to swallow given the baseball product. For some people, it'll inevitably be an impossible pill to swallow. Undoubtedly, someone's going to say, this is exactly what I needed to say. I don't need this anymore. This is an expense that I have put up with that I no longer need. Team's no good. They're selling guys. We don't know what the plans are. They want me to buy more. Nope, not doing it. Sayonara. Undoubtedly, that will be the choice. For, I don't know how many people. I'm not trying to suggest it'll be a revolt or a mutiny or anything along those lines. But there will be package holders that will make that choice. And I'm not saying that if, again, Michael Arrighetti, whoever it is, if Grant Hill came out and did some interviews in town today, Michael Bloomberg, and said, I used to be able to do a Bloomberg impression.
No, you go for it.
No.
Send it. Come on.
No, I'm not going to attempt to do that.
Why not?
I used to. But if they came out today and they said, guys, we understand. We get it. No one ever wants to hear change. You like what you like. We are telling you that this your commitment that you're making to us, we're going to make to you. You join us on a 20-game package or up to a 40-game package next year, and what we're going to do is we are going to commit with dollars to making sure that there is a team competing to win a championship on the field. That messaging maybe doesn't convince everybody. Look, there's a lot of scars here in Baltimore, undoubtedly. But it goes a long way. You at least like hearing it. Makes you think about it a little bit more. All right, if they're saying so, let me think it through. That's the only, again, from a communication standpoint, that's the only, issue that I would have. That it's a rough way to run this out. There's never a good time or a good way, but there would be a better way. And truth be told, I think it becomes concerning on the flip side that we still haven't heard those things from ownership. That since originally David Rubenstein spoke so much about winning a World Series, he's spoken far more about a salary cap than he has about winning a World Series. Which doesn't mean he's inherently wrong about the salary cap. I just think he's shouting into a void. I think the players have
Manfred's listening.
Made it very clear that it's going to continue to be a non-starter, and they are at least saying they are not concerned about a work stoppage. That's the thing that the NFL always had over the Players Association, is that the NFL players all are kind of aware of how short their careers are and how little opportunity they have to make money. So when it comes to actually losing money, not making it anyway, with game checks, every time they're willing to go back to the table and get a deal done. I mean, the last time it cost the Hall of Fame game was literally the only game that was given up in the process.
Yeah, that was a bummer. Yeah.
For you, yes, I'm aware. For the rest of us, did not care. The Major League Baseball players, they have shown far more willingness to say, we'll strike. You want to lock us out? Lock us out. We will not give up and budge on this. But that's an unrelated story to the Orioles and their tickets. We'll come back in. Our buddy Buck Showalter is going to join us. He was back in Baltimore last week, and I believe he'll be in Baltimore again this weekend. The dirty little secret is he actually spends a lot of the summer here. Kid lives here. It's a whole thing. He'll be.
That's a secret. Why did you just expose it?
I don't think it's a secret at all. I'm pretty sure he's referenced it quite a few times. Had a lot of people like, I can't believe they flew Buck Showalter back. I'm like, well, the thing about that is I don't think that's how it went. But yes, I am to understand he will be in town for the Orioles Hall of Fame festivities this weekend, as his guy Adam Jones will be inducted into the Orioles Hall of Fame. So we'll talk to Buck Showalter about all of that when we come back in. It is a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at DriveEasyMD.com.
Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses make golf fun and affordable. All 5 local courses, Pine Ridge, Mount Pleasant, Forest Park, Carroll Park, and Clifton Park, are challenging and fun for players of all skill levels. Book your tee time today at classic5golf.com.
This August, give your game day an upgrade at Live Casino. Enter to win an ultimate football package. We're giving away over $50,000 in game-changing prizes on Friday, August 29th. Earn entries daily for your chance to score a 100-inch TV, a state-of-the-art soundbar, and so much more. Don't sit on the sidelines. Make your play at Live Casino at Erndale Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, we celebrate the first ever Baltimore basketball player to reach the Naismith Hall of Fame as we talk to those who knew Carmelo Anthony best about how his Baltimore upbringing shaped his legendary career. Also inside, Bo Smolka profiles Ravens second-round pick Mike Green, and find our annual summer travel section with information on some of the best sporting events and activities in Maryland that your family can check out all summer long. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
If you missed it, on Monday, Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, and Ken Singleton got together to talk baseball, and then Stan actually pulled double duty this week because he's not going to be in here on Friday. He said, I gotta put some more work in, and caught up with Vince Pellegrino to preview next week's BMW Championship at Caves Valley. So you can find those shows, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline, or PressBoxOnline.com/video. As always, Stand shows brought to you by the Costas Inn, and the all-new Costas Inn now open at the Grandstand in Timonium. Everything you love about the original Costas Inn, with the one exception being you can only get steamed crabs at the OG Costas Inn in Dundalk, but the new Costas Inn has everything else that you love about the Costas Inn menu. CostasInn.com. Check it out there and go see them now at the Grandstand at the Fairgrounds in Timonium. What a scene it was on Friday night when this man was introduced to a raucous, packed house at Oriole Park at Camden Yards to come out and serve as first base coach for the Savannah Bananas. I think we're going to be seeing more of him in Baltimore this week. He is, of course, the great Buck Showalter, and he is back with us now here on GCR. Buck, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Hi, Glenn. How are you today?
I'm great, my friend. I imagine this has been a pretty good week to be Buck Showalter, right?
Well, I don't know about that. I had to clean out the garbage cans this morning. That wasn't fun.
Yeah, but we all have to do that.
Exactly. No, you know what? I get it now. I had a curiosity about the Savannah Bananas. Now I get it after spending a little time there. My son and grandson and my wife kind of shamed me into it. I wasn't going to do it. And
Okay. Wait.
Adam had called, and I said he was going to do it. Would I do it? You know, that kind of thing.
But you originally were not interested. You originally.
I wouldn't say interested. I had a curiosity about it, but I wasn't going to do anything on the field necessarily. I just like to kind of watch and get it. I get it now, Glenn. I get what they've captured after. They put close to 90,000 people in Camden Yards over 2 nights, and it's being in the clubhouse and watching them work and what goes on behind the scenes and the people they've surrounded themselves with, the owner. I mean, the next morning I woke up and there was a video. The owner was at Camden Yards getting ready for the next game in full yellow tuxedo, thanking me for coming. I mean, they get it. They get the fans. I know some places they don't charge for food or parking. They just want to get you in the ballpark and your ticket's all encompassing. My wife was saying to me on the way back that night, she goes, "Why do we charge for spring training games?" It made a lot of sense. Why wouldn't they just say, okay, you got to pay for parking and food, but maybe the 200 seats behind home plate will sell. The rest of them, come on down from Baltimore and you're free to get in. I mean, what other team really charges a lot for practice games? Let's face it, you're going to see the starters for maybe 3 or 4 innings.
Right.
But okay. You got me off on.
No, it's. I haven't thought about. I guess I'm thinking about the time that I spent in Arizona, Buck, and there was serious demand for the tickets, and I think that's part of the issue is that you'd almost create like a madhouse if you didn't charge anything for tickets. But
I guess I'm sure there's a lot of sidebars to it that I haven't thought about.
No, it's an interesting thought. I think the point that you're making is one that's bigger. Because there was a lot of these think pieces that came out from this weekend, right? Like, what can baseball learn from the Savannah Bananas? And you have to acknowledge they're very different things. But I do think like the concept of always trying to remember to be fan-friendly, doing everything you possibly can do to encourage things with fans, I don't inherently disagree. I don't know exactly what that looks like for Major League Baseball because you clearly can't do the things that they can do.
You know what you're getting into. It's nonstop bombardment of entertainment. I mean, if you go to the bathroom or the concession stand, you're going to miss something. We've been to a circuit, and I'm not saying it's a circus, but there's 3 rings and something going on in all 3 rings, and there's things going on. There's a constant din of music and noise. The players are out of the dugout. They're interacting. I mean, I watch them in the clubhouse. I mean, these guys are going on stage. There's tryout camps. What hit me too, Glenn, they're talented. These kids can play a little bit, and it's competitive. They lost 6 in a row to the team they were playing. The Bananas did. I mean, that was a big deal. The manager said to me, "Hey, we need to run here," and they know how to speed the game up. I love the idea. There's a clock up there, and when it hits 0, everybody gets in their car and goes home. But it's interesting.
Beyond what they do, the you part, and I know you don't like talking about you. I understand that, but I'm hoping that it meant as much to you as we would like to imagine that it meant to you, because we hadn't had that moment yet with you. And I'm still hoping that it'll happen at an Orioles game before too long. But to get that reception in front of a legitimately sold-out crowd and how that place came unglued. Would you be willing to share at all what that meant to you to feel that from this city?
Well, it's kind of like a Manager of the Year award that somebody gets. It's such a reflection, Glenn. I'm not saying this cliche. It's such a reflection of how your team did. Manager of the Year is given to the guy that the team does things that nobody expected. Because the expert, we used to love it. Every year, Pacoda would pick us to finish well under 500, and finally they give up and said, we don't know what's going on in Baltimore. But they would give it to the manager that surprises the most. Oh, it must be the manager. It's really an organizational award. But so I always kept in mind that if there's a reaction, it's because of the players. Like, I wish I could have been there the next night. Markakis and Wieters were there.
Yeah.
But I'll get to see Tommy Hunter, and I think Chris Davis is coming in for
That's
Adam's
cool.
thing.
That's cool.
And but I take it in for a second. I just want the game. I don't want to get in the way of the game. People are there to see them. They're there to, and I enjoyed watching it. I just taking it in and evaluating it, and turning around and looking at the fans and how into it they were in the 8th and 9th inning. That's fun to watch. But hey, I got that part of it, but it's almost, quite frankly, a little not embarrassing. What's the word? It's a little, I don't know. I've always wanted to kind of blend in, and
I know that about you. I know that's who you are, right? But like I also know that you still keep coming back to this community. And I think there's something really special about the relationship that you share with this community because of that.
Well, there's certain places you get, and they kind of get you. There's such a down-to-earthness here. There's a pureness of heart when it comes to the Orioles. My son and his family live up here. I got to tell you, that's the biggest reason. And we've got a place, a little farmhouse not far from Baltimore, where when we come to visit them, which we're doing now, and I'm able to piggyback it on Adam and that, and we'll be going back to Texas soon. But it's a place that, when you get it, I think John Harbaugh's gotten Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not for, if you're looking for how big's your house and how cool is your car and your clothing and whatever, yeah, they can do that. They can put on the dog with anybody, but it's not who they are. And I really like that about Baltimore. And, heck, I got 15 or 20 minutes out of Baltimore, and I don't think we've owned a house everywhere we've been, and we felt like it was part of the commitment you need to make to the community. But, we had a great run here for almost 10 years.
It was special for us to be able to celebrate you like that on Friday.
Glenn, let me ask you, what do you think? I was asking, Adam and I were in the umpire's room waiting to go on, and I asked him, or he asked me kind of too, we said, what did we capture with that group that they haven't seemed to have captured yet?
So that's a great. I want to get your theory. I'll give you a couple of mine. All right. My first theory is that obviously there was a starvation, right? Like for the time before you arrived. But
I agree. That's a lot of it. I agree with that.
There's a lot there, but I also think there was a culture, and you and Adam to me are the two that stand out the most because of this. I think about that thing that Adam said, where he said, "I'm not here to make friends." I don't even know if you remember this, Buck, but Adam and I once got into a fight right before opening day, before the 2012 season, because I was at the old radio station, I was at WNST at the time, and the relationship that was there then, and he was going after us, and we went back and forth, and the back and forth that we had, we texted the better part of the night, and it made me realize his passion. Like, he just is incredibly passionate about winning and the Orioles, and he doesn't care about all that other stuff. And it was what everybody loved about you when you dropped in the I don't care about the save rule, I care about the win rule. It was the passion you had for we don't care about the BS. We just want to win. That's it.
Yeah, you don't have people around you that – one thing about baseball, it will separate insincerity in a heartbeat. I mean, if you're not serious, you play too many games. And the thing that Adam and I very early on, we were both – I appreciate bluntness. I want to know what you really think.
Yeah.
And Adam fed off of that when I would sit down and talk to him about something. And then I would go, what do you think? I'm not sure about this. What are your thoughts? And, he knew it, and you were really listening. Someone is not really listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that same way with even Markakis was great at being blunt behind the scenes. He was great at it. You know, Manny learned that. Wieters got comfortable with it. J.J. Hardy got comfortable with it. I mean, you think about these names and the support people you put on a club, whether it's a backup catcher, utility infielder in Ryan Flaherty, backup catcher in Caleb Joseph, fourth outfielder in either Nate McLeod or Ryan Christensen. Those guys are huge. A long reliever in T.J. McFarland. Those guys, they got to know who they are. They got to know what they bring and be comfortable with it. Those are the type of people I think sometimes teams miss how important those add-ons are. I call them the what-if guys.
A James McCann type, perhaps.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
the type of guy that stands out to me.
It's no big deal. We can replace that. It's just this. No, you can't. It's like a position. It's a fifth starter. Like I look at evaluating clubs, I go, let me see your fourth and fifth starters against mine. Let me see your utility infielders, your non-closer setup relievers. Then you really know because those guys will make or break you over a long season.
Man, how involved were you, Buck, like personality? Like, you know, we talk about this all the time about how this works now, and you and I have had plenty of conversations about, you know, the way that kind of front offices run everything anymore in baseball.
And that's okay. I mean, whatever. That's fine.
It's what it is.
We only did what we were asked to do. I mean, it's like Cedric Mullins. I remember the first time I saw Ced, and you would think someone would call, say, a Wayne Kirby or Adam Jones or something about Mullins before you. I cannot tell you how many phone calls were made before an acquisition, whether it be in a trade or a free agent, or even a 6-year minor league free agent. You know, that's how we got Steve Pierce. It's how we got these different guys signing a Nate McLeod. The phone calls you make on those guys and the information you gather that go beyond the analytical evaluation are so important to make good decisions on players.
It feels like it's a part of the sport that's missing at the moment, Buck. It feels like that's been an issue, and it's just kind of gone away. And that's maybe me, the old man, yelling at a cloud. But
I know we had. I was at the scouting combine out in Phoenix for MLB TV, and they wanted to do an interview. And I hate interviewing players, but I'm sitting there and listening to everything, and they go, "Well, Buck, what do you think?" You know, this was off the air. I go, I wouldn't take him in the first round. I couldn't take him. They go, "Why?" I said, "The interview, the face, the parents, the different stuff." Without naming names, there were about 5 factors other than how he played. I said, I'd have a hard time trusting that commitment. And they went, well, look at his exit velocity. Look at his hip flexion. I go, that's great. That's fine. Maybe take him somewhere else.
That's
anyway.
Yeah, the type of things that a track man can't measure, right? Like those types of things.
And that's okay. It's all part of the evaluation, but when one part of it gets too heavily weighted, you're going to make some mistakes.
Buck, obviously we're celebrating Adam this weekend, and Joe Orsulak and Tom Davis, and I don't want to leave those out because they're 2 very popular, loved figures in this community as well, but almost no one like Adam. And it's wild to me because we kind of granted Adam the right to be Mr. Oriole in the modern era, despite the fact that, you know, he's not going to be going into Cooperstown at any point. We usually save those things. They're reserved for Brooks Robinson, Ernie Banks in Chicago. You don't really give that mantle to someone that isn't that, but that's how much he meant to this place and this city and this team and this fan base. When did you know? When was the moment?
He didn't run from the responsibility of that. Some people won't say, oh, you know, I'll be a leader, but they don't want the responsibility of it. That's why they're so hard to find out. People don't want to be that guy that has to stand in front of their locker after a game. Adam never shirked it. I'll give you 2 quick stories on Adam.
Yeah.
I mean, it was about 3 days into my tenure here. I got here sometime early August, and I just called him in. I said, Adam, I can tell you say all the right things, and I can tell your personality, this and that, whatever. I said, but here's what you and I got to get. I said, my best players have to play the game right. You know, whether it's Markakis or you or we, you have got to play the game right. Because if you guys are going to go, and not that he was, but if you guys are going to go 5 flat down the line, and go through the motions sometime, your words are going to ring hollow, and your action speaks so loudly I can't hear a word you're saying. So I need to know that you're going to play. If not, I'm just going to go back to Texas. I'm not going to waste my time here because we're going to be, you know, we're going to be spitting into the wind. It ain't going to work. And since that day, he took and ran with it. The second story is that we got an off day, and I had a little acreage and barn, and my wife had a couple of miniature donkeys. She loved them in a big garden. And all of a sudden, this big, loud truck with the horn, he comes up the long driveway in his truck, and he's got his kids with him, and he's over there to see the donkeys and sit down, talk with the manager on an off day.
Wow.
On an off day, and I just sat down thinking, I said, this is why we got a chance here. And, the kids were out there playing with the donkeys. Adam was talking baseball and life in general. He got a sack full of tomatoes out of our garden and went on. And I went, okay, that works. Cal came over a couple of times. We sat up there and talked about life. But it was Adam got it. He got it. He understood the responsibility he had. And he got a great return for it, but it wasn't necessary for that. He enjoyed interacting with people. He likes people. He likes different personalities. And he likes the different part of it.
I always loved hearing him talk, Buck, about understanding what it meant to be a successful black baseball player in an urban place, right? And and you obviously know a lot of things that he went through during his time as a player. But it struck me as sort of like a wisdom that he didn't need to care about those types. All he needed to care about was playing baseball. But that representation and wanting to be that for a group of people always blew me away how conscious he was of those things.
Yeah, it comes with a lot of responsibility and the mantle you carry. I grew up with Adam Jones. My dad was so far ahead of his time, and I used to on Saturdays or after school, I'd go play and whether it be basketball. First time I saw a guy go around behind his back or go between his legs or spin the ball in his finger, I was like, wow, I want to do that. How did you do that? Pick up baseball games. I grew up with Adam, so I've always had a certain, I don't know, just empathy for some of the challenges that he had along the way. And after I met his mother, and she told me, "There's any problems with Adam, you just call me. I'll take care of it." She had some nicknames for me that we won't get into, but she was special. She was special.
I hope that we might hear those stories this weekend. I hope that there's a possibility.
I'm not speaking. I don't know what's going on. I know they got Kirby is doing the luncheon. Okay. Wayne, and then all I'm doing is just handing him his coat, what I understand.
Oh, it'll just be special having you guys together. That part we'll take that for now. And
I just want to stay out of the way. I hope, I'm sure there'll be a pie around somewhere.
That's a great point, right? Did you ever at any point allow him to hit you with one ever?
No, that didn't happen. But I tell you what, I got into some best advice I got as an Oriole manager was from Mike Flanagan, God rest his soul. Yeah. Mike used to come in my office because I would let him smoke, and I had black percolated coffee, and he loved that coffee. And he would talk, and he says, "Do what I didn't do. Once a homestand, go over and talk to the owner. Take whatever grief give him a chance to air out, and you'll be able to keep your coaches if you'll go over there and just listen to what he's got to say," which I would do. Half an hour, it was pretty tough, and then we'd sit down and have a club sandwich, and I'd go back to work, and coaches wouldn't be fired, and explain what was going on. And, he one time said, we got to stop with the pies. Somebody's going to get sued. It's going to get in their eye. Someone's going to lose an eye and this and that, whatever. And so I think we made them a lot softer. I think they started going just whipped cream only.
Okay.
And something to keep the
tradition.
Law.
Stay
away from somebody being sued. And I understand that. Peter thought about that stuff, and rightfully so.
He's a lawyer. Makes sense, right? Probably the first thing he thought about when it happened was what could go wrong here. But that stuff matters, and I appreciate you saying that. That we were joking about earlier in the year. The Orioles had been doing this. They call it the hydration station, right? And they didn't do it at the beginning of the year. And we were genuinely disappointed by it.
Yeah, it's little, it's got to be sincere. It's like sometimes the guys, get to second base, now I got to do my pantomime or act or whatever I'm supposed to do. Wait a minute, it's 15-1. Don't do it.
Not the time.
Have some feel. Have some feel for the crowd.
Not the moment. I don't disagree with that whatsoever. What about Tom? Because you obviously had a lot of interactions with Tom. He is He's one of the great characters in the history of our industry in Baltimore.
I love Tommy. He didn't take himself too seriously. I love guys that smile easily. Tom loved the Orioles. Tom was very good at what he did. I mean, he took a lot of pride in it, very organized, and could really sweat like no other man I've ever known.
That's accurate. All of that is true. There's no doubt about it.
Spring training was tough on Tom. Spring training was tough on Tom.
Sarasota in March. And he would always wear suits, too. He would always wear a suit. Oh, man, it's too much. Buck, what's so you're doing that this weekend, and then anything else on there? Oh, my partner Griffin wants to get one in for it.
Buck, I know that you were obviously working during part of Cedric's career here, but last Thursday I think was really tough for a lot of Orioles fans, even though we all saw it coming. What do you think resonated so much with Cedric Mullins here?
A lot of what we've been talking about. I told you the first time I saw him was over at Pirate City. We're playing. I asked Brian Graham, the farm director, I said, can we get somebody over here that can defend, got some energy, athletic, and, just somebody that when we run out on the field, you can tell they're – see, I got just a guy. So we're not sure if he's a prospect, this and that, whatever. And he comes over and he plays 4 or 5 innings. And I look around, I go, where has this guy been? What are we doing? Really? Upbeat, athletic. He was a switcher at that time. Great face, but a sincere young man. And, I'm glad he got to the big leagues. I'm glad he's gotten a lot of time. I'm glad people are appreciating for what he brings. And he's a loss, and that one, it stung me too, because I remember back that young man with the great face came over so earnest. And when he got his meal money for playing that game, he was like, wow, this is pretty cool.
That's neat. Maybe is not Adam Jones, but certainly left us with an awful lot of memories, and the way he played the game.
It's funny you brought that up. Adam put his arm around this kid and just loved on him and made his path easier. I said, Adam, where do you see this kid we brought over from Pirate City? And we brought him over to Sarasota there, and Adam just fell in love with him. He said, put his locker next to mine.
Yep. He told me originally. He said, you need to talk to him because he doesn't talk much, but he's got a lot to say. And, And he was right. Buck, anything else on the horizon for you, my friends?
We're going home in probably on the 1st of September, back to Texas. But, no, that's good, too. We've got to take care. I got to tell you, I took a pasture and kind of carved out a little baseball field, and the grandkids are coming in. We're going to play a little baseball on it.
Oh, that's cool.
Took a lawnmower and carved it out, and maybe I can get some of the neighborhood kids to come over and do a little Field of Dreams.
Man, so we do wiffle ball at the beach. Whenever we go to the beach, my kids want to play wiffle ball, and we have the same, like all of the kids from all of the other families at the beach start coming over, and it feels like the Sandlot to me.
Sometimes organized stuff too much. A little freelance works every once in a while. And I always kept that in mind with baseball teams. Don't always get too stiff.
Yeah.
The best organization and the best spring training workouts are ones that are organized, but the players don't know it.
That's an interesting way of putting it. Buck, I need to talk to you about when you're going to start working on your book, because I want to read it. I want to hear those stories about your dad and all of that. So let's talk about that at some point, when you're just going to start working on a book, because we need to make that happen.
My biggest issue is picking somebody to help me with it, because I've just met so many great people in the game. I don't know, and which means it'll probably never get written.
No,
that's okay too.
We need to do it. Needs to happen. Buck, you're the best.
Well,
my
Glenn,
friend.
thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Okay,
let's talk soon.
All right, y'all take care. Bye bye.
The great Buck Showalter. That man. I would read 7 books if he wrote a 7-part series. I'd read every part of it, and he still won't even talk about what it meant. That he's still just it's not about me. You just can't get him to do it. It's like he's embarrassed by it, which is part of why we love him so much. Is he just move on? Come on, get on with the show. You're not here for me. You're here for that. Come on. It's just who he is. Always appreciate Buck Showalter taking the time for us. It means the world. It was interesting that he brought that up. He's like, what did those, why did everyone connect so much? And undoubtedly, it's starvation to me is the first line of it. That we were so starved for even competency. It's one thing to not have won a championship or not have won a division or something like that. It's another thing when it was unwatchable just an unbearable product for the better part of a decade and a half. So that starts it. But there was a connection that goes beyond just winning. Like, I would say these current Oriole teams have not connected, despite having some winning and having some success. They have not connected the way that those teams immediately connected. And I think Adam is the forefront of that. He was so out there. He was so involved. He was, I want to go to Orioles, or I want to go to Ravens games. I want to go to the WWE when the WWE's in town. I'm going to be a part of this. And I think that goes a long way. Like, without that, I don't know what the connection would have been for a team with Manny Machado, who clearly was not as much out in the community, Nick Markakis, who just doesn't have that personality. I don't know what that would have looked like without Adam, but Adam kind of forced it and forced that connection, and I think that had a lot to do with it. But, and it's not even a shot at this current group. I don't think they've done a poor job. I don't think they just, it's not the same. There's no one in this group that has had the relationship with the community the way that specifically Adam did, which made him one of one. It's why we were willing to give him the mantle of Mr. Oriole, despite the fact that he wasn't Ken Griffey Jr. He was a really good player, but he was a Hall of Famer in connecting with us. That in that way, I don't know that there will be another one like him that will ever come along, just because of how sports has changed. The guys don't spend as much time in the community. All of those things. I don't know that you'll see it. Hour number one winding down of today's show. When we come back in, we're going to let, I think it's going to be, you said you're going to do the 25 things that you're watching for tonight?
Yeah,
the
that
Ravens
works.
take on the Colts.
I can find 25.
The top 25 things.
Easy.
AP poll, top 25 things to watch. Ravens-Colts. Well, we'll touch on it. Maybe 3 or something like that.
All right, fine.
Maybe.
15.
No. Maybe 3. Come back in and do that next. It's Glenn Clark Radio. That would be a botch.
It would.
That would go on the record.
For fans of the Costas Inn, and who isn't, I have some great news. Now there's a second location to go along with 4100 North Point Boulevard. This one is at the Timonium OTB. This is Stan the Fan, and I have been a fan of the Costas Inn and Triantafalo's family for going on 30 years. They're open for lunch and dinner, same great Costas feel, same great menu and quality food you've been enjoying for well over 50 years. The exact address on your GPS is 2200 York Road, and their phone number at the new location is 667-406-1975. If you're new to the Costas experience, get ready for a real treat. All wrapped up in a new spacious dining room in Timonium at the OTB. If you want steamed crabs, you have them, and the full menu at 4100 North Point Boulevard. The number for reservations there at Costas, 410-477-1975.
This August, the PGA Tour's best are coming to Maryland. The 2025 BMW Championship tees off August 12th through 17th at Caves Valley Golf Club in Owings Mills. See the top 50 players battle it out in the penultimate event of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Don't miss your chance to witness world-class golf, fan experiences, and unforgettable moments. Tickets are on sale now at BMWChampionship.com. The BMW Championship, where legends take the lead.
This August, give your game day an upgrade at Live Casino. Enter to win an ultimate football package. We're giving away over $50,000 in game-changing prizes on Friday, August 29th. Earn entries daily for your chance to score a 100-inch TV, a state-of-the-art soundbar, and so much more. Don't sit on the sidelines. Make your play at Live Casino at Erndale Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from driveeasymd.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at driveeasymd.com.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Want to improve your golf game or learn to play for the first time? The Baltimore Golf Academy has fun, instructional programs for the beginner golfer to everyday players. The Baltimore Golf Academy can take your game to the next level. Enroll today at baltimoregolfacademy.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR. A couple of things. This is an interesting comment from Andrew. Andrew says, Glenn, the reason why you won't hear management say that they're going to do everything in their power is because they don't want to artificially create a standard by which to be measured. If you say we're going to do everything we need to do in order to win the World Series and then something doesn't go right, then you're going to be judged against your own words, and it's an unforced error. Andrew goes on to say, undoubtedly, David Rubenstein started talking about the World Series and then actually got into the building, and the people around him said, do you know how difficult it is to win the World Series? We need to be more realistic and not keep talking about it. I don't know that that's true, Andrew. I mean, I have no reason to think that that's true. Not how difficult it is to win a World Series. Undoubtedly, yes, that part is 1,000% accurate. I mean, the part about, you know, the idea that the front office, the people in the building, the business people said, stop saying, I don't think that part is true at all. I think it's almost kind of humorous to imagine someone in that role telling David Rubenstein, a literal billionaire, what he should talk about or not. Like, come on, man. That's not the way that went. But to the point, suggesting that, like, saying something like that would be an unforced error, you don't even have to say we're going to win the World Series. You don't have to say those words. But it doesn't hurt to co-opt this messaging at a time where there is great disappointment with something that would be more affirming. And that's the difficult part about, again, making the messaging sort of business only. Rightfully, Katie Griggs points out, that the Orioles president of business operations, that the 3% rise on average in ticket prices correlates with the rise in inflation. Like, the messaging is, well, we're not raising ticket prices. The economy is raising the ticket prices, which is perhaps a fair message to put out. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not dishonest, I don't think. But it's not a good time to sell that message. And it's why, if you could co-opt it with an ownership representative saying, we understand this season has gone poorly, and we are telling you that we intend to make sure that gets fixed. If you say that, you know what you're not saying? We're going to win the World Series next year. Because as I pointed out, I don't think you're going to win the World Series next year. But you are saying something. So that the entirety of the message isn't just the ticket prices and the plans. You're saying something else that helps in assuaging the messaging. You don't have to say, you don't have to create a standard that can't be met. You don't have to say, we're going to win the World Series next year, or you're getting your money back. Because we know you're not, it's not Stop. You don't have to do that. Just something that goes along with it, I think would go a long way. It's my opinion. All right, 3 things, Griffin. Tonight, Ravens-Colts, preseason opener in Baltimore. It's on WBAL. It'll also be on NFL Network in the rest of the country because more people need to see
football, yeah.
Devin Leary or
football,
whatever.
yes.
Whatever
I mean, yeah, obviously
3
it's going to
things.
be
Number 1.
important to see if John Harbaugh can get back to his winning ways.
Come on, give me 3 things to watch.
I mean, the O-line certainly sticks out.
So,
the depth of the O-line is...
You're a broadcaster now.
Yeah.
Deliver this. Deliver it. Like you're doing
the
a
offensive
segment.
line.
Number one.
Number one. Or should I start at 3 then? And
no, you already said number 1. Number 1.
Offensive line, I think, is the most important thing right now because that is. We've talked about how stacked this roster is, but the depth at offensive line is certainly, I think, where the biggest question marks should be. Like we know Ronnie Stanley's going to be there. We feel good about Roger Rosengarten and Tyler Linderbaum. I think we're feeling a little bit better at left guard with Andrew Voorhees. Like I think that's just going to be what it is. Ben Cleveland, I guess, is me.
I don't even know that we're feeling better about it as much as it's like
this is what it is.
This is what they're doing, and so and to the point, as I always say, the Ravens and guards, you just sort of assume that we talked about it with Brian Baldinger last week. Like they just figure out the guard position, so we're just working under the assumption that again. They're going to figure out the guard position.
So there's a lot of names that I think we have to learn. Well, hopefully we don't have to learn. I guess that we get the same 5 starters at the offensive line all season.
Yeah, correct.
But like these are guys that are like there's a new kind of era of backup offensive linemen that the Ravens are we're gonna see. So Carson Vincent, I'm excited to see because a lot of people have talked about him and him playing. I think he's been playing some left tackle in camp, so he's the
unfortunately they haven't been able to get Emory Jones on the field.
Yeah, that is a bummer. The Emory Jones one is a bummer because a lot of people have liked him and compared, or I don't want to say compared, but
the weird part
him
being,
playing next to Will Campbell, they said there's not much of a drop off.
Well, the weird part about like looking at the offensive line is this is one of the things like there's probably 11 guys. We know there's the 5 starters, right? Mm-hmm. But then there's Ben Cleveland. Nick Samak, who you assume is going to be on the team because you assume he's the backup center.
Yeah.
So unless there's something we don't know, they feel like one of these other guys can play center, you assume that Samak's on the team because he is. You need to have someone specifically who would be your center in that situation. You don't have that swing, the jack of all trades offensive lineman that you've had in the past. Joe Noteboom, the veteran that they brought in this offseason.
Because we thought he was going to be the backup left tackle, I think. Or I guess now
at least in the,
one of the tackles.
You bring up Carson Vincent. Emory Jones, if he gets on the field, would be in that conversation. And another draft pick in Garrett Dellinger. Mm-hmm. So that's 11 guys that were draft picks or priority free agents or vested guys on the roster. That's not even considering anyone else that, a Corey Bullock type
Corey
who's
Bullock,
sort of been
was the other one I was going to mention.
Around for a little while, but you would assume is
and with the Emory Jones injury, it feels like Bullock's got that kind of because he's a guy that can play every position. I mean,
but now we're talking about
we're not sure what level, but he can play every position.
There are not 12 spots. There's certainly not 12 spots. There's probably not 11 spots.
Well, the thing is, I just the way that this Emory Jones thing is playing out, it feels like
it's leading towards him being pup
or
IR. Yeah,
whatever.
That's possible. Right.
So that seems like it's an open spot for somebody here.
Potentially, but I still don't know. Even if you take Emory Jones, you're still dealing with 11 guys, and you don't have 11 spots. Mm-hmm. There are not 11. Like there's 8 or 9, right? Probably 9, maybe if you really stretch. I don't know, but.
So offensive line, I think is a big one to keep an eye on. Then I mean, just because it is the flashy, it's the flashy position, wide receiver. Just who's going to fill out that 5, 6? Are they going to keep 6 receivers? Maybe the likely injury.
It definitely becomes interesting in the return game because is Keaton Mitchell.
So maybe that's how I should rephrase it. Almost. Yeah. It's the punt and kick return game, like. Who
and that's an area
because everyone loves LaJohntay Wester,
right?
At least as a returner. Tylan Wallace, we've seen what he does as a returner, and now we've got Keaton Mitchell healthy for the first time.
And you want to have Keaton Mitchell on the field somehow.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have him do something to help this team. So undoubtedly, you'd like.
And are we locking up Tez Walker with the spot? Like, is he that? It seems like he probably in the driver's seat for the 5th wide receiver, but yeah, I know he does play. He plays special teams as well. He's not like a returner, but he does play special teams.
But
so Tez Walker, LeJontay Wester.
But he was never active. I mean, other than the Giants game last year, like he just wasn't active last year, and so that does make you question how much they believe in him. As much as everybody says he's got the talent. And there is a question there.
I'm trying to predict which guy we're all gonna which no-name receiver that we're all gonna fall in love with that will not make the team. So it's probably either Dayton Wade or Xavier Guillory.
Dayton Wade's been making a bunch of plays in training camp,
and then Anthony Miller and Keith Kirkwood are the like kind of quote unquote veterans that
you almost assume like veterans that they somehow try to squeeze onto a practice squad.
Anthony Miller certainly fits that distinction in my opinion. But yeah, I think Tez Walker, LeJontay Wester, those two. Just seeing maybe not necessarily what they do as receivers, but what they do in other positions, returning in the special teams game. So Tez Walker and LeJontay Wester, and then on the defensive side, kind of looking at the defensive line depth, Aeneas Peebles, Malik Ham, John Jenkins. I feel like we haven't heard a whole lot about him. Brent Urban's back, right. So it'll be interesting to see like what they look like. I know Cordell is very high on Aeneas Peebles, so I'm excited to see what Peebles looks like.
I think a lot of people were high. They call him Fub, obviously, right. Fub Peebles. And he was a really solid college player, but yeah, to your point, how many spots do they have, right? And I guess you're saying you view Ham as like a defensive lineman.
I know they've been using him as an outside linebacker / edge guy. So I guess just because I feel like defensive line depth is where they feel like it's weird saying they have depth at edge, but
I think it's a weird conversation where that's where you find more.
Well, because at D line, all we know is they got Travis Jones and Nnamdi Madubuike, and then after that, it's like, what's the order? What's the pecking order after that?
No, I don't disagree with that necessarily in D line. I think the edge part is interesting in there's not enough spots on the roster if all these guys stay healthy. Obviously, Van Noy, Owe are the top guys. Tavius Robinson, based on the way that he played, I think has earned a spot on the roster because he was very helpful. Mike Green clearly is going to be on the roster. And then there's 3 guys in Ajabo, Adisa Isaac,
who also we haven't heard a whole lot about, it feels like.
You throw in Malik Ham to that conversation. How much room is there? How many guys can they keep? Is there a world where, like, you would assume that if those are the guys, then it's priority order, like Ajabo, we got to make this work. At least Adisa Isaac was a draft pick. You would assume Malik Ham would be on the odd man out, but he's also a guy that, like, every time he's had the chance to play in the preseason or in training camp has done everything that you've asked of him. Are you competing on an even playing field for those spots? Yeah. Or is it, hey, sorry, we've got to prioritize the guy that was a second-round pick and trying to get something out of him? Are you willing to call that a wasted pick at this point?
Or do they call, we get later into camp and they call Mike McDonald and say, hey, we're not sure we can find a spot for this guy. We know Ojabo's 1 year's. Like,
right. Do you want him to work out some sort of trade?
6th-round pick swap or something.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, okay. so D-line / edge then, I guess, that just seeing how the depth, the guys behind the starters shape out. That'll be interesting to see. And then I guess if there's an honorable mention, the safety, how they deploy the safeties.
I told you 3.
I know. I get an honorable mention, don't I?
No, you don't get.
So Bo Braid, Snoozy Kane, TJ Tampa. Like I think he's been playing corner, but
I was gonna say they've been playing him at safety.
No, they haven't.
Oh,
but
okay.
I mean, I'm just throwing out any. It'll be interesting. Because all we know is Hamilton and Starks right now. So Bo Braid and Snoozy Kane seem like they.
I would assume both guys are on.
Path.
I would assume both guys are on the roster.
But I mean, they're gonna throw.
But if you want to throw in like some of the
Davis,
like this is the part they drafted a lot of guys. Like they drafted
like these guys, like Bilal Kone and Robert Longerbeam. Like what's gonna happen?
Is there room on the roster for all of these guys? Yeah. And look, somebody's getting hurt, and it's just the way that it goes, and that's gonna be part of the conversation. Or somebody's getting hurt. In order to protect that, those things are happening in the course of the next couple of weeks. All right, there you go. Those are the things that Griffin's watching.
Of course, Cooper Rush, Devin Leary.
All right, enough. What I would say is there is what you just presented. Whenever a team puts out their depth chart, we always read entirely too much into it. Like I think this week it was the Broncos.
Oh yeah.
Who listed J.K. Dobbins as their starting running back, and listed Harvey.
RJ Harvey is the fifth string. Yeah.
I think like tied, like just among the fifth string running backs. And it's clear for those that don't realize, it's the PR departments that put out the depth charts. Now, you could say, well, don't they consult with the coaches? I would tell you that they might try.
Oh, yeah. Wait, so how does this...
What?
I don't understand how this reads then. So J.K. Dobbins and RJ Harvey are the 1A and 1B then?
What do you...
I'm looking at the Broncos depth chart, and it's...
They're official?
They're unofficial depth chart.
Okay. So they are showing...
Well, then hold on. Maybe they didn't. Maybe that isn't...
No, they have...
Right,
I see that they got the unofficial depth chart. They have J.K. Dobbins first, Jaleel McLaughlin second, Audric Estime third, Baltimore's own Tyler Beatty fourth.
Oh, okay, now I see.
And then they have both Blake Watson and R.J. Harvey listed at 5. Like, that's what they've got listed. And so people overreact to that. But the problem is they're not telling you anything. They're telling you R.J. Harvey's a rookie. That's what they're telling you. And the PR department, are not going to be the ones they're going to say R.J. Harvey's a starter. Now, you're going to go other places, and you're going to say, okay, well, that's weird because I looked at who's another team that drafted? The Raiders. Have the Raiders put out an unofficial depth chart?
Not that I know of.
Hang on a second. Apparently they did 3 days ago. And the Raiders, yep, as I would expect. The Raiders list Ashton Genty as their starting running back on their unofficial depth chart.
What has he done to earn that?
So somebody's going to say, well, if you think that the Broncos, it's only about him being a rookie. No, it's about him being a rookie and not being a first-round pick. They don't know, which we all think, that given how meh that group of Broncos running backs is, that R.J. Harvey is a guy that everybody should pick up in fantasy because he's going to be the guy that breaks through that. But they're not going to tell you that because they don't know that. So until the team shows that, they're just going to list an unofficial depth chart that says, and R.J. Harvey is one of the running backs that's in the conversation. That's all they're telling you. The Raiders spent serious draft capital on Ashton Genty. They ain't hiding from the fact that he's their running back. There's no debate about it because of how significant the draft capital was. Now, if the Raiders still had, I can't remember the last time the Raiders had a legitimate running back.
Josh Jacobs.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
If they drafted, if 2 years ago they drafted Ashton Genty and Josh Jacobs was still on the team, undoubtedly that first unofficial depth chart would still have Josh Jacobs listed as the starter and then maybe list Ashton Genty second after that. But without a clear option, it's much easier for the Raiders, their PR department, to say Ashton Genty was a first-round pick, a very high first-round pick. He's our starter. We don't need to hide from that.
Their first listed wide receiver for the Raiders, Dante Thornton Jr.
No, it's not.
Is it? That's what
I don't know what you're looking at.
What am I? Then what do you have then?
The Raiders unofficial has Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker listed as their starting.
Why is Jacoby Myers not even listed on the one that?
I don't know what you're looking at. I have no idea what it is that you're looking at. But 3 days ago, on August 4th, 2025, the Raiders' first unofficial depth chart of the 2025 season was posted by the team, and this is the PR department depth chart. Oh, I see what you're looking at. They've got it split out. I understand now what you're looking at. I understand what you're looking at. They list 3 starting wide receivers, and they do have Baltimore's Dante Thornton listed as one of them. You are right.
Yeah, I was looking at it. I was like, do they just have no receivers on their team?
Now, it's, I guess, odd that they have him listed ahead of, like, Jack Beck, who I believe was a higher pick than he was.
Was he? Yeah.
I think Beck was he a second rounder or a third? He was a night 2 pick.
Yeah.
Correct. So, like, you could say that's odd. They have it listed that way, but probably not too much that you need to read into that. I do see what you're seeing now. I didn't see they had another wide receiver position listed at the top. I just saw the 2 they had listed at the bottom. That's on. I don't know if we would call that a botch.
No.
But it's. I'll say I didn't see what you were seeing. By the way, speaking of it, Brian Powell did send me the thing again that I thought he had sent me. I don't think it's a good botch punishment. It's like a 7-layer cake where all of the layers of the cake are donuts. And then a chocolate chip cookie crust on the cake and then melted chocolate covering it. Like, it's it's gluttonous nonsense. But I don't think, and I would have no interest in consuming it because I don't eat sweets. But I think that Griffin would be like, hell yeah, give me that. The botch punishment shouldn't be a dessert. Yeah.
Read it out again.
It's a 7-layer cake.
Oh, I'm in.
All of the layers are donuts.
What?
With a chocolate chip cookie. You can see the video. I'll try to find it for you and send it to you. It's just not a good botch punishment. Brian, we need something.
So maybe we do personalized punishments. So that's your punishment.
Oh, I would have to consume the. Oh God, I would be in hell. I would be in hell, man. It looks terrible to me. I just sent it to you, but we can deal with it later because we got a guest to talk to right now. All right, time for us to meet one of the newest members of the Orioles organization. He came over in the Ramon Laureano, Ryan O'Hearn trade last week, and he is already getting the job done for the Chesapeake Baysox. We welcome into the program for the first time Brandon Butterworth, who is with us now here on GCR. Brandon, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely, man. I know this, this has to be a shock to the system, right? You're 22 years old, and you're sent to a different place. Can you walk me through, the range of emotions, what you feel, everything that you go through when you get news like this last week?
Yeah, 100%. This is my first full year in pro ball, and I never really have gone through a trade deadline. So I didn't know what to expect at all, and I definitely did not think I was going to be the one to get the call to, be told I was getting traded. And I was just going through a normal day for the Tin Caps, about to start my game just after defense, and I got a call from our farm director back in Arizona, and he told me that I was acquired by the Orioles in a trade, and I kind of just went blank. I didn't know what to expect or what to think. I was just in shock.
So, go from there, right? Do you have emotions about, hey, I was comfortable here and I was starting to figure things out? I'll be a little bit closer to home? How do all of those things sort of play out in your mind over the course of the next 24 hours?
Yeah, 100%. I definitely was starting to feel very comfortable there. All the guys, are some of my best friends now, the coaches, the players, I was all getting really close to them. And so when I heard that, I got that call, everybody was sad, and I was definitely sad, that I was leaving all of them. But then, my mind kind of opened up because it was a new opportunity, and it was going to an organization that wanted me. So, I was told by multiple people that this was a very good opportunity for me, and this is a very good, thing to be told that you're getting traded for a team that wants you. So, the first couple thoughts in my mind were, positive. And then, of course, being closer to home, which is always good because I'm going to get to see my family. And then for spring training, spring training is going to be in Florida instead of Arizona, which is definitely a lot easier as well. So I think, at the start, it was more sad and shocked. But I think after I realized it and had my mind open up a little bit, it became positive.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you walking us through that, right? Because, it is, especially at a young age, it is a lot to process in a short amount of time. That all being said, you process all of it, you show up here, and in the first 5 games, you're 6 for 19, right? Jumping up to a double-A ball. Is there anything that you can explain? Because I think a lot of people would say maybe they would expect an adjustment or it would be a struggle. Is there, I don't know, maybe some adrenaline involved, something like that, that's led to you getting off to such a hot start since arriving in the system?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. When I first got the call, like I said, that I was getting traded, I was told I was going to Aberdeen High A, which is where I was originally. And I was totally fine with that, getting to a new team. And about an hour and a half later, they called me and told me that they were promoting me to Double-A. So that immediately shocked me, and that immediately got me so excited because, I was working so hard this year. I feel like I put myself in a good spot to, eventually get that call to be promoted. So I was very excited for that. And I feel like that right there, hearing that call, that kind of put me in the right, mindset that, I have to show up and, show who I am and, try to be the best person I can and be the best teammate. And, I had 3 games when I got there. We did doubleheader on Saturday and just a normal game on Sunday. And, I just, felt like a normal day at the ballpark. I was helping my teammates. I was trying to be the best guy I can. And, I feel like everything, fell into place pretty good. And I got some good ABs in. So that was definitely something to, get off to a good start.
Yeah, right. It's a good first taste to have. There's no doubt about that. Brandon Butterworth is with us here on GCR. Brandon, baseball's, there's still like a circle of people. Did you know anyone in the Orioles system? Did you have any connections, or was it entirely you had to walk around with a name tag on the first day? Like, hi, I'm Brandon. Nice to meet you now.
Yeah, definitely on the Double-A team. I would have gone to Aberdeen. I know a couple of players there from college.
Okay.
But definitely on the Double-A side, I definitely had to walk around with a nameplate and definitely had to ask for people's names a couple of times. But I know I kind of got acclimated pretty quickly. They all, they're all really great dudes. And, now, the other day I went out to dinner with most of them. So
That's
it's
cool.
definitely a good, 100%. And they're really good dudes. I went out with Servideo. What's it called? I went out with Williams, Retzbach, all them. So those are really good guys that I got, like I said, acclimated to quick. But they're all really good, and they definitely helped that process a lot easier, getting transitioned to a new team.
I know, Brandon, that you came in, the profile coming into pro ball was as a shortstop. I know you played maybe a little bit more second base at the pro level than you have shortstop. Do you still view yourself as a shortstop? Have you started to really kind of like enjoy second base? I'm sure you're going to tell me I view myself as whatever it is that the organization needs me to be because you want to get to the big leagues, but where's your comfort level at those two positions? And would you say, hey, there's actually a couple other positions that I'm pretty comfortable playing as well?
Yeah, I definitely think you kind of hit that on the spot. I definitely I'm okay with playing any position that the coach needs me to play, so I can just get on the field. In Fort Wayne, I definitely did play second base a lot. Our shortstop was Leo DeVries, who was the number 3 prospect in baseball.
Yeah, it makes it
so
tough.
Playing,
right.
yeah, 100%. Playing up the middle with him was definitely a lot of fun. And then on his off days, I got to play short. So we kind of flipped back and forth, which was good. But they actually did have me play center field and left field a little bit instead of my off day. So I was playing 6 days a week. So instead of me having one off day, they just put me in the outfield, and I loved it. I loved outfield. I think outfield was so fun. So I definitely started to get more comfortable at second base for a little bit, but I think my heart always is going to land at short just because, I've played it my whole life growing up. And I think that's where I'm most comfortable.
Is that still almost like a baseball ego thing? And I don't say ego in a negative way. Like I'll make a comparison. I'm the guy 15 years ago that was doing a show with Joe Flacco once and asked him if he thought he was a top 5 quarterback, and he said, I think I'm the best quarterback. And people were killing him over it, and then he went and won a Super Bowl. And I was like, that's exactly how he's supposed to answer that question. You're an athlete. You're supposed to believe that you're the best at everything you do. Is that part of it still for baseball players? That, like, if you've played shortstop, because of the significance of the position, you have to believe and you have to know, and in my mind, I can always play shortstop. I'm capable of being that guy.
Yeah, I think 100%. I think baseball needs confidence. This game's a failure. This is a game of failure,
yeah.
And I think if you don't have confidence, I don't think you're going to go very far in the game. Just because this game tears you down. And you have to have confidence, whether it's real or even fake. If you show up to the field, thinking deep in your heart that, you're not feeling the best, you're not going to have a good day, but you show that you have confidence, something positive can happen. But I think always being confident about whether where you're at, whether that's me at short or, a pitcher on the mound thinking that he's better have the best game. I think that's, always something positive to think about.
So I want to ask you about something I saw on your Instagram page. First of all, whoever did the Photoshop of you in the Orioles uniform, that looked good. But then the next picture that I saw was you as a kid legitimately wearing Orioles gear.
Yep.
Can you tell me the story? Were you playing for a team called the Orioles? Is Carolina – I assume most folks in Carolina are Braves fans, but, did you happen to be in a part of Carolina where you were rooting for the Orioles? What was the story there?
Yes. So I played for a rec travel organization back home in Weddington, and they have in the spring there's a small season to get you ready for travel ball, like summer ball, where you go and play other teams from other areas. So it's like a 10-game series or 10-game season where you play each other, and everybody gets put on different teams that are either the Orioles, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, so it's stuff like that. And I actually ended up getting put on the Orioles, and we had the best season that we had in that like history of that season. It was or like the season that Weddington has ever had, and it was pretty cool.
So it was meant to be, is what you're saying.
I guess so. Yeah, it was an invisible string.
But was it like you called your mom, like, "Hey, Mom, I need you to furiously go through the pictures and find this picture of me in the Orioles gear from years ago"?
Oh, it was actually so I was driving on the way to Chesapeake here, and it was about 8.5 hours, and I stopped for gas, and I saw some guy wearing a Orioles hat while I was walking in. I was like, you know what? I remember me playing for the Orioles. My mom is an avid Facebook post. She posts all the time on Facebook, and I was like, I bet you she has a couple pictures of that year. So I went back. I probably scrolled for about 30 minutes, and I finally ended up finding it. And it was a blurry picture back in the day of probably, off some flip phone. And I ended up screenshotting it, and I was like, this is a perfect post, like showing like, how I used to play for the Orioles, and now, it all worked out for this. So I thought it was so cool.
That is really cool, man. That is, it's a very neat story to work out that way. What was your family's reaction when they found out? Like, obviously you referenced being closer to home, and that's cool for you, but I have no doubt that for your family and friends, not to suggest that it's, they can come to every game. It's not that close, but just that it's not quite the hike. It's drivable, I guess, now, if they chose to. What was their reaction when they got the news?
Yeah, 100%. It was awesome. My brother immediately was like, all right, we're coming for my birthday. My birthday's coming up in about a month. And so they immediately, got tickets to come there. And then my mom and my aunt lives in like near Philadelphia. So it's not that bad. But my aunt and my mom are going to come see me in a little bit too, which is always good because I haven't seen them in a while. It's been so tough being in Arizona and then, going to Fort Wayne. And then, if I eventually moved up to San Antonio, that's even further away. So it's definitely awesome that, these affiliates are very close to home.
That's really cool, man. And it's got to be a good feeling for you knowing that they're not that far away. You're going through it at some point. You could visit with them. Man, that's a really dope thing. I did see that, like, one of the first people that commented on that picture of you in the Orioles gear was our friend Aiden West, who played here locally at Long Reach. What's the connection that you have with him?
Yeah, so I went to NC State last year before my draft, and he was committed to NC State.
Oh, that's right.
It was
that's
just
right.
like, yep. And it's just like it was just like a mutual friendship over Instagram. Find each other on Instagram. I know that he was going to NC State. So I never really got the chance to meet him, but I've heard from the coaching staff at NC State that he's a really good dude. And, so I hope everything works out for him because, I knew NC State wanted him bad, but I knew getting the chance to play pro ball, especially where he signed, is awesome.
Yeah, obviously with the Dodgers, it's going to be exciting for him. All right, Brandon Butterworth, what do you want Orioles fans to know? What is it that you're going to be bringing to the table for this organization, in your words, moving forward?
Yeah, I think not a lot of people know me in the pro ball organization. I'm not a top prospect. I'm not a name to be known just because of where I was drafted. And I definitely think that I bring more to the table. I play hard, and I definitely think that I play the game the right way. So no matter if it's a bad game or a good game, I'm always going to be the same person. I'm always going to play the game at 100%.
And what about away from baseball? What are some things we need to know about? What are you into? What kind of music do you listen to? What are you binging right now? Give me the whole rundown. And what away from baseball, what should we know about you?
I'm a big golfer. I love playing golf. I grew up playing golf with my grandpa and brother.
Give me a handicap.
Oh, I don't want to be too cocky here, but I think a 7.5 handicap. I'm pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I played golf before I played baseball.
Wow, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Look, I know it's probably the same way in every organization, but that is a regular Monday routine within this organization, as I'm sure you've already found out.
Yeah, 100%. I grew up playing golf. My grandparents, I was fortunate enough, they lived on a golf course, and I was able to play all the time with them. And my brother, he played golf in high school and throughout, his early 20s, and he became almost damn near a scratch golfer. And playing against him was so frustrating just because I was close to getting to him, but I never could. And he would always, he would talk so much crap to me.
That's cool. That's cool, man. Are you at the place, if you guys played for money, who wins?
Ooh, I got to say him. I'm,
right.
100%. I think I I'll get a couple holes on him, and I'll be getting confident. And then once I think I'm getting confident, he gets an eagle an early birdie, and I'm like, damn.
Damn.
I know.
All right, and then quickly, music, movies, give me anything, or TV shows, something like that.
Yeah, I like all music. I like dad rock. I listen to country, a little bit of rap here and there.
This is gonna be tough for me. What to you is dad rock? Because I'm 41 years old, and so this is gonna be a pain. Whatever you say, it's gonna hurt me.
Like Green Day, Linkin Park, 3 Days Grace, stuff like that.
Yep, and you're right. That's dad rock. You're 100% right. That qualifies. I dig. And the last thing you binged?
Honestly, I'm not a big TikTok guy, but I did, go back and start watching The Office again. I've probably seen it like 3 or 4 times, but I went back and started watching The Office again. So.
Dig everything about it, man. I love that. Hey, the Baysox are back home next week for a series against Erie, and it's a huge week, including what I'm telling you, speaking of being a dad, is the single best event of the year that the Baysox do, which is Touch a Truck Night, where they just bring out dozens of construction trucks and work and emergency trucks and let kids hop in, blare the horns. My kids have never been happier about anything in their lives than Touch a Truck Night. I promise you that. Fireworks, Jordan Westberg bobblehead giveaway, football night next week. Lots of great events. Get to Baysox.com. Brandon, remind everybody how they can give you a follow on social. It's like Brandon, but with an extra A on Instagram, correct?
Yep. It's BRAANDONB, and then my Twitter X is Slippin' on Butter.
That's great. I love that. Brandon Butterworth, great to meet you, man. Looking forward to seeing what you're going to do in this organization. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning. We really enjoyed this.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Brandon Butterworth of the Chesapeake Baysox with us here on GCR. Appreciate him taking the time. All right, today's show is also brought to you by the Maryland 5-Star, which is back this October at Fair Hill. Get your tickets right now, Maryland 5-Star with a number 5.us. The Triple Crown of Equestrian, but it's not just a sporting event. It's a celebration of fall in the state of Maryland, the Corgi Cup, the ponies, the Food and Wine Festival. It's the 5th edition. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's time. Get up for the Maryland 5-Star and get your tickets, maryland5star.us. We'll preview the other side of tonight's preseason matchup. Rick Venturi, former Baltimore Colts assistant, now Indianapolis Colts color analyst. He joins us next. Glenn Clark Radio. Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
For fans of the Costas Inn, and who isn't, I have some great news. Now there's a second location to go along with 4100 North Point Boulevard. This one is at the Timonium OTB. This is Stan the Fan, and I have been a fan of the Costas Inn and Triantafalo's family for going on 30 years. They're open for lunch and dinner, same great Costas feel, same great menu and quality food you've been enjoying for well over 50 years. The exact address on your GPS is 2200 York Road, and their phone number at the new location is 667-406-1975. If you're new to the Costas experience, get ready for a real treat. All wrapped up in a new spacious dining room in Timonium at the OTB. If you want steamed crabs, you have them, and the full menu at 4100 North Point Boulevard. The number for reservations there at Costas, 410-477-1975.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, we celebrate the first ever Baltimore basketball player to reach the Naismith Hall of Fame as we talk to those who knew Carmelo Anthony best about how his Baltimore upbringing shaped his legendary career. Also inside, Bo Smolka profiles Ravens second-round pick Mike Green, and find our annual summer travel section with information on some of the best sporting events and activities in Maryland that your family can check out all summer long. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue on a Thursday edition of the program. Yes, as our buddy Zach Moore reminding us that he told us on Monday that Brandon Butterworth could be the Orioles' next Ramon Laureano, and I poo-pooed it. I said, "You're trying to get me fired up about the next Ramon Laureano." That's not a knock on Brandon Butterworth. It's I want him to be better than that, with no disrespect to Ramon Laureano, who certainly played a role. It's just that I wanted Zach to get me a little bit more fired up than the next Ramon Laureano. It's not a knock on Brandon Butterworth at all. And he'll be very happy if it turns out to be Ramon Laureano, because Ramon Laureano is going to make a lot of money playing baseball in his life. There is no doubt about that. CountySports.zone is where you go for everything related to high school sports. And we are just a couple of weeks away from the start of high school sports season. So you want to know about who the standouts are to watch for in high school football here in the state of Maryland. They're going to introduce you to them, and then all year long, every school, every sport, every part of the state, they will have scores registered for you, information, news updates, polls, standings. When we get to the playoffs, the brackets, they've got you covered. CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Ravens-Colts tonight in Baltimore. Let's preview the other side of tonight's matchup. Joining us now, a man who spent some time here in Baltimore in the final days of the Baltimore Colts. He is the color analyst for the Indianapolis Colts. He is Coach Rick Venturi, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Rick, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you. Great to have you back in town. Thank you for spending the time with us this morning.
Oh, always a pleasure, Glenn. Glad to be with you. You're exactly right. 43 years ago, I was getting my start, with the then Baltimore Colts and, working in Owings Mills. I find it quite ironic that 43 years later, the Colts are having a dual practice with the Ravens at Owens Mills when the last time the Colts were there, the trucks were headed west. So, I found that quite interesting. But yeah, got my start there, lived in Reisterstown. I really enjoyed it. It was a short stay. The Orioles won the World Series the one year I was there. I really liked Baltimore.
Rick, before we talk about the team, as you would imagine, there are complicated feelings in our city about the name Irsay, right? And we know that Jim passed away this year, and a lot has been made about, hey, Jim was not his father, but we also know that Jim had dealt with demons. But the outpouring that we saw from people, not just in Indianapolis, but around football related to Jim, can you kind of take me through what you would want people in Baltimore who you will understand are inclined to dislike anything related to the name Irsay, what you would want them to know about Jim specifically?
Yeah, well, I would say, first of all, having gone through it and having lived with Jim, you got to understand, Jim and I started at exactly the same time with the team. He was a 22-year-old son of the owner, just getting his feet wet in different areas. I was a rookie head coach, and we had a relationship over 43 years that spanned from assistant to young kid to head coach, general manager to getting fired, and then bringing me back for this second act that I have. So, I always have wondered that, because Jimmy was not his father. He really wasn't. I think he became one of the great owners in this league, and he learned a lot of what not to do from his father, unfortunately, in those early days. And I've always wondered, just been a wonder with me was if Jimmy had been in control then, as he was maybe in his golden days here in 2014, if they hadn't been able to work it out. Because if you go history of the Indianapolis Colts, there was a real move and a real pull to Los Angeles, back in that early 2000s, and he resisted it here. He resisted the big ticket out there, stayed with it, got a heck of a deal. So I always wondered about that. Jim ended up being revered here, despite his idiosyncrasies, which he had, his demons, which he had, which we all knew. But, I think he's known here, number one, as a great philanthropist, to be honest with you, Glenn. I mean, there are organizations, sports teams, and leagues, that are alive, that exist because of Jim Irsay. I think, he would want to be known as a great football guy, which he was, and, a champion, which he did manage to win a Super Bowl here. The girls idolized him. He was a great father. And I always tell people, and with all that being said, I lost a great friend of 43 years. So, yeah, I think the perception, obviously, I think if you could separate it, it's Bob Irsay in Baltimore and it's Jim Irsay in Indianapolis. And as I said, his passing, he is revered. As a matter of fact, the ceremony that everyone put on for him, which I wouldn't even call it a funeral, it was really a celebration, was absolutely incredible.
And that's everything that we saw and everything that we heard. I'll tell you, first of all, and apologies and thoughts about the loss of your friend, Rick, because I think that's very real, and I appreciate you sharing that. But if you could mention to the girls, right, if you could.
Yep.
I know this isn't your area, but if you could mention, we're still never going to give up on trying to get the records back. We're still never going to do that here. And I would tell you, I was out in Vegas last week and spent a day with Joe Unitas, and it still bugs them, right? Like, it still irks them every time there's a John Unitas throwback or something like that celebration in Indianapolis. So we know that the name's never coming back. We accept that. We understand. That's never happening. But we're still going to fight about the records forever. We want the history back in Baltimore.
I totally understand that, and I've kept all my Baltimore memorabilia. I got a really classy hat that I still wear every once in a while.
I appreciate that. All right, let's talk about what we're going to see tonight. Let's just talk about this team. And obviously, I know for the Colts, the conversation starts at quarterback.
Yeah.
Is it a competition that's set up for Anthony Richardson to win because it's best for the organization that he wins, or is it a true competition? Can you walk me through that and what this is going to look like over the course of the next few weeks?
Well, I will tell you this, and I think it certainly is a real competition. I think Anthony, after a pretty impressive rookie season and one of being the hope of the franchise, it got tarnished last year. It really did, for different reasons, on the field, leadership, all those things. And, so I think they definitely brought Daniel Jones in. They wouldn't have paid him if they didn't want him to compete and be an option, to be honest with you, at quarterback. Plus, you have the lack of availability with Anthony a lot. His style leads to a lot of hits, to be honest with you. Shane has done, I got to really give him credit, he's done a terrific job of making it a real competition. I mean, Glenn, they have shared reps down to equality. With the ones, with the twos. I mean, it's alternated every day. Each guy has had equal amount of reps, equal amount of opportunities, and so you can't really argue with the intent. Anthony is going to play a quarter and a half tonight with Jonesy finishing up the first half. Then they're going to switch it next week at home against Green Bay. And so, they're really playing it out. Now, to be honest with you, there hasn't been an appreciable difference because Jones is what he is. He's going to be consistent every day. You're not going to walk out of there with a lot of wow, but you're also going to get really consistent play. Now, to Anthony's credit, he has improved, at least from a practice standpoint, in some of the areas of the games where he is deficient. he can throw the deep ball. He's not just a good runner. He's a great runner. He's not like Lamar. Lamar is the guy that is, just so great in the open field, jitterbug type guy. He's a run over you guy, and that's good and bad. But there hasn't been an appreciable separation. And I think in that case, if that maintains the rest of the spring or the rest of the summer here, then I think the advantage will go to Richardson because, if Richardson has improved on those areas, that mid-range passing game, which he's just been not very good at all, and it's indicative in his pass percentage, 47% last year. If he can move that up some, he gives you, a dynamic guy at quarterback. He gives you explosion on the running game, explosion on the passing game. And it's, kind of like when we were kids and we played baseball, tie goes to the runner. And in this case, if there's not a big separation, then it will go to Anthony. And it's really not going to be about what Richardson does. It's going to be about what Anthony does. And, because he has immense talent, if he can realize it, but, we've got to be able to trust him. We really got to be able to trust him when we host Miami in the opener.
Right. Rick Venturi is with us. We're previewing Ravens-Colts tonight and previewing the Colts specifically. But, Rick, to your point, what you just said to me is what sort of resonates, that, he needs to win the competition or at least, not be beat in the competition. But it feels like that's still the higher end for a Colts roster that looks, and we'll get to it, but looks like it can be competitive. It feels like there's a higher end, that if you get the best version of Anthony Richardson, that's going to be better for giving this team a chance to compete this year.
No, I think you got it, and I think if you polled the fans here in Indianapolis, they see it that way. They see him as the top-end guy, the guy that if he finds it could take you to the promised land. I think that sentiment exists here, probably exists in the coaching staff. They're not going to come out and say that, but I think it probably does exist there. So, yeah, I think that's right. I think this is a team, this is a team under Steichen that in the last 2 years essentially is 17-17. And, which tells you that it's a solid team. It's not a bad team. It's a team that has a pretty good roster. They made tremendous moves on defense, starting with, changing the defensive staff, bringing in Lou Anarumo, who I think his handprint will be felt. They brought in a couple class defensive backs, Ward, who's an elite corner, and Bynum, a safety, to go with Kenny Moore in the cross. So really, they're a little fluid at corner right at the fifth player at the third corner because of injuries, and Wally got one yesterday in practice. So but they're pretty good on defense, and I think they're going to be vastly improved. And so, good offensive line, they can run it. The receiver core is getting better. Tight end Warren, the first-round draft choice, is the real deal. So, there's the ingredients there to be a real contender. And so, as is true with most NFL teams, but particularly with ours, it's going to be about the quarterback position. It really is. If both quarterbacks were 27th and 28th respectively in QBR. Yeah. If we can move the needle, whichever guy it would be, if we can move the needle to 15, move the defense from 29 to 15, which I think is realistic, and flip the turnover ratio from -4 to +4, then you could win the division. The division is very manageable here. This is a division that you can certainly compete in. And so, but it will still, I think, Glenn, it's still going to come down to that quarterback play.
Rick, what are the other, for you guys? We've obviously been spending all week here in Baltimore talking about what it is that we're looking for, and clearly it's different because the Ravens will not be playing their starters, and we know who the quarterback is, obviously.
Right,
but
right.
What are the other things besides the quarterback that maybe still need to be settled or are most interesting for the Colts in the lead up to the start of the season?
Well, as far as the starters go on both sides, it's really pretty solid. I've said all along, when I look at the Colts, I don't necessarily see a bus full of game changers, but I also don't see many liabilities. You can't look out there and say, boy, they're weak here, they're weak there, we can get them. That doesn't exist. They're pretty solid everywhere. Some of the specific battles, to watch, the kid that's had a great summer, is A.D. Mitchell. He had a really good day yesterday against a good secondary. Mitchell is a second-round draft pick that has it all. If he could come on and give us that explosive receiver opposite Pierce, and Pierce is a comer. Pierce led the league last year in yards per catch. If those two guys, if Mitchell can come on and play in the regular season like he's doing now opposite Pierce, then you have Warren, you have Downs, you have Pittman, and then you have a great runner inside as well as a quarterback who can run. So, that could be a pretty good outfit. Defensively, Buckner and Grover Stewart inside are very good players. We need somebody, particularly Latu, the kid who was the number 1 draft pick last year out of UCLA. We need him to become what I call an ambient player, a guy that he makes the defensive coordinators take a sleeping pill. We need him to be that guy, that impact guy. We haven't had an impact guy on the edge, and I think that's the number one thing we got to get. And, of course, the leading candidate, we have solid guys. The leading candidate will be Latu, who's also kind of been the Mitchell of the defense. Secondary is going to be vastly improved, both schematically and with the additions that I talked to you about. Linebacker is fluid right now. It's fluid. Franklin's not in there. He is the bell cow. He's coming off surgery, but he'll be ready for the regular season. So, you can see it. It's a pretty solid team everywhere. Like I said, if we can get quarterback play, then we're going to be dangerous.
So I do want to run the theory by you because we understand why the Colts in particular are playing their starters, but we're seeing a few more teams. Like the Bengals are going to run Joe Burrow out there. We know the Chiefs always run Patrick Mahomes out there. The Ravens have continued to not budge and said, we are not risking it. We are not putting Lamar Jackson on the field, and they got off to a slow start a year ago. What do you make of the argument on either side about how teams handle the preseason, completely understanding the way the Colts are doing it because of the quarterback thing, but is it better for teams to get some reps on the field and take that risk of a preseason injury?
I would never criticize the Ravens, and I really like John. I loved Ozzie. I worked with Ozzie. I think the Ravens and Philadelphia are the two best operations in football. So, whatever they're doing, I would just say probably keep doing it. But myself, in general, I'm a little bit old school on this. I just think if you overprotect your team in August, if you don't play your guys in the training is walk out of there some days and say, did I really watch a practice? And so the only time that you're going to tackle, that your ball carriers are going to get tackled for ball security, that your quarterback is going to play with live bullets, not with a red jersey, with live bullets, is in preseason games. If anything, the way the issues are today, and I think you're seeing a move back to it, I would play my guys longer because I really believe this, Glenn, and you can check this. This is not something I'm pulling out of my back pocket. You look at all the injuries in September. You just look at them, and it's really a lot of them, in my opinion, is teams are not combat ready. They may be cardiovascularly ready with all the modern-day deals and all the gimmicks, but in the end of the day, my dad, who was a Second World War Marine and Hall of Fame football coach, used to say, you have to be combat ready. Your team has to be combat ready. And just look at the number of injuries in September that are in the National Football League, much less bad football.
It's an interesting thought, and I don't know what the correct answer is because, the moment that somebody gets hurt doing this, you're going to be crucified for it.
Well, that's what's happened to coaches.
Yep.
Now, I do think, as you said it, I think there's a move back to it. I think there's a move back to getting your team ready, but particularly the young coaches, not guys like John with all the experience and the resume that he has, but the younger guys, they're afraid to death. They're afraid of the media. Yeah. If they get a guy hurt in preseason, everybody in the world is breathing down their back.
Rick Venturi, great to chat with you, spend some time this morning. Somebody just sent me a video of a quote that you had recently that was, you have God, you have your family, and you have red zone.
Yeah, they always kid me all the time because my specialty as an assistant, as the years wore on, was red zone, and they were discussing red zone the other day, and I said, well, in my family, it's these three things. This is how it works. and on Thursday and Sunday, you might have to put red zone number 1.
That's so great. Rick Venturi, great to hear from you. Appreciate you spending time with us this morning. Enjoy the game, and let's catch up again real soon, all right?
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Rick Venturi, Colts color analyst, former Baltimore Colts assistant coach. Appreciate him spending time with us. I actually kind of like the quote better when I thought he was talking about, like, watching NFL Red Zone. Like, how could you be unhappy in life? You have God, you have family, and you have NFL Red Zone.
I felt like,
but it being about
still kind of
the Red Zone package and being responsible for Red Zone football, it still works 100%. And for a certain group of people, it maybe works even better. But for the rest of us, I was just thinking about that, right? Like the order of things that matter. Yeah, that's kind of a fun quote. I enjoyed that. Appreciate Rick Venturi taking the time for us this morning. We're going to do an episode of Reading Glenn tonight, and we'll revisit the preseason conversation because we do it every year, and I have not wavered. And I sometimes wonder if Rita's starting to waver because she references, the way that the Chiefs are doing things and the success they've found. And this year, the Bengals are going to play their starters. Like somebody mentioned that Kyler Murray's playing in the preseason. I'm like, yeah, they probably could use that. Like they're not. To me, that's not the same as. You can't make a comparison between, Kyler Murray's playing the preseason. That's proof that Lamar Jackson should be playing in the preseason. The Cardinals have been very bad. They've got to – they need as much time as they can possibly have together. I don't have any doubts that the Ravens are going to be fine offensively in week 1, despite the fact that regulars aren't going to play in the preseason. That's why I'm not going to waver. If I were the Colts, 1,000%. The flip side argument is the Chiefs don't need it, and they play their guys anyway. The Bengals, offensively, certainly don't need it, and they're going to play Joe Burrow in the preseason. And maybe the argument is you got to play the Buffalo Bills on the road in week 1. Like, you don't have the luxury of...
It's the...
whatever it is, a home
Raiders
game
last
against.
year, we thought that was easy.
In fairness, they lost that game, right? But you know what I mean. Like, similar argument a year ago. You got to play on Thursday night on the road in Kansas City. You better be ready to go. And the Ravens weren't sharp in that game. Ultimately had a chance, but they were not sharp in that game. So I listened to the argument of here's why you should do this. The Ravens would tell you, well, this is part of the reason why we do these joint practices is because we're trying to replicate some of that there, but despite the fact that we're not doing it in the preseason games. I don't know what the correct answer is. I know for me, I still default to the risk. This stuff doesn't matter. I don't want to take any risk at all.
And the fact that it feels like we've been victims of it so often.
Everybody thinks about the J.K. Dobbins thing, of course.
Gus Edwards, I guess Gus Edwards happened in the season. But
But the J.K. Dobbins thing, I think we all associate with why John Harbaugh changed his – and I don't know that he's ever, openly confirmed that. I think we've just all kind of accepted it as fact. I still lean towards that. Now, if for some reason, surprise tonight – they went out there for a series, I wouldn't scream from the top of my lungs from the rooftops and say, how dare you? I accept that it is not binary. It's not black and white. There's a lot of gray area here. I think it's crazy how much the Chiefs play Patrick Mahomes in the preseason. I think that's nuts. But there's an inherent amount of risk to everything that you do. You can't forever protect from injuries. Is there enough benefit from it? We don't have enough data either way. Like if we try to say the data is the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl every year and they play their guys in the preseason, thus proving that you need to play your guys in the preseason. Well, other teams play their guys in the preseason too. the Cardinals are going to play Kyler Murray. Do you think the Cardinals are going to go to the Super Bowl this year? Like, we're trying to create like a causation that doesn't exist. Is there a correlation? I don't know. It's like when everybody used to scream about, you have to work to, the quarterback has to work with his wide receivers in the offseason. Why? Well, because they have to. Right, but what is the relationship between that?
Well, because it makes
for
content in the summer.
And it's really what it is.
Rodgers,
or it's the Tommy Boy thing. It's you wake up and your daughter's missing. Like you can get a good look at your butcher's ass by sticking your head up there, but wouldn't you rather take his word for it? Like it's that everybody's looking for, if you do this, and this equals Super Bowl. No such thing exists. Which, as I've always said, doesn't mean I think it's a bad thing for a quarterback to work out with his wide receivers. I enjoy seeing those videos as well, but does it change anything at all about the Ravens' ability to win the World Series? Or the World Series might change that. Does it change anything at all about the Ravens' ability?
Might have a better chance than the Orioles.
I don't think that would count as a botch either because I caught it as I was doing it.
Sure, fine. I wasn't going to count it.
Well, we haven't started the game yet, so it wouldn't count anyway. I'm saying that I think a certified botch is you do it without realizing.
Plow through it.
Yes, you're without recognizing that you do it. Because we all make mistakes. When you make a mistake, you want to recognize
you're
it.
You're going to beat me this game. I don't want to do this because you're going to beat me.
I talk way more than you do.
Yeah, but
way more.
You've got more experience talking.
That's true, but I have to do it a lot more.
And I have to do more because I got to hit buttons and stuff.
You have to hit some buttons.
And talk.
That's Griffin's argument. That's an awful lot for me. I've got to hit some buttons.
You try hitting these buttons.
It's also going to be different. So I'll tell you guys this. We are going to do 1-hour shows next week. Now, I've told you before that we were leaning towards turning the show into a 1-hour show. And John in Little Rock was very unhappy, and everybody else was very indifferent. That's not true. I heard from some other people. The reason is because we want to do a better show. I want to do a better show. And the data would suggest that 2.5-hour shows is what we've been doing. I always envisioned doing a radio show, doing it that way. The market has dictated we need to do a podcast. And we can still do it live, but it needs to be a palatable podcast format and video show format to make it. Somebody would say what you really need to do is 30 minutes every day. Like that's the reality of what the market has shown. We are trying to find an in-between. We are not committing to it just yet. Next week is going to be kind of a test of a 1-hour show format. Now, knowing my luck, there's going to be some insane breaking news story on Tuesday, and we're going to say, nope, right back to 2 hours, which is the flexibility that we have here. We're also interested in shopping the show to maybe some new distribution partners, and we want to show proof of concept of what we have. So that's part of the reason why we're going to do it. So next week, and the other part that I would say is it's not Bible either. We'll still have the option of running over, but we're going to tighten some things up. Like we're not going to do a 5-minute version of Tidbit. We're not going to do a 5-minute version of Tubular. We'll do like 1-minute versions and maybe hit a couple of important things and nothing else. That's going to be what it looks like moving forward. But we're going to test it next week. And maybe not even every day next week, but we're going to test it next week. And we'll start at 11, and the show will go 11 to 12. And it's going to be a learning experience for us because part of it is we're going to try to prep things a little bit. Crazy thought. Better show prep. And like when I asked Griffin to have the home run, like we will have prepped that beforehand, essentially. So just a heads up. We're not saying that it's going to permanently stay that way. We're not telling you that it won't permanently stay that way. Probably the wrong time to be doing this leading into football season when we're about to have more content, but we'll probably do some other things. Like we might do a 1-hour show and then do a later, post show. That's something that John Colson and I have been discussing. Like, will there be different formats that, like we do a produced show and then we do sort of like a BS 30-minute thing after. I don't know. We're working on different things, but we're going to test the concept next week. So 11 a.m. is when the show will start on Monday, unless, again, there's something, I don't know what that could be.
Perfect game thrown by Kapovich.
Yeah. That definitely is in play. It could happen.
Tyler O'Neill hits 4 home runs.
Well, that's
not even that. That's not enough.
Yeah, that seems less likely though. I can't believe I'm saying this. Of those two options, I can't believe I'm saying these words. It seems less likely because it would require him to play, and that just.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that's fair. We know Cade Povich will have a chance,
right,
to throw a perfect game.
We don't know that Tyler O'Neill will actually be on the field. That's the difficult part of the conversation. All right. Today's show has also been brought to you by the print issue of Press Box. Final days next week. A new print issue of Press Box will hit newsstands. We'll tell you a little bit more about that in the coming days, but you can still get this Carmelo Anthony issue before it's gone. Daddy gone. The love is gone. Get out to your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. Read it all. PressBoxOnline.com. Oh, you want to do tidbit now? All right.
Fighting words.
Speaking of shortening the show,
I don't know if this is going to survive. If it is, it's going to be a 2 to 3 minute version. Quick.
Well, all right. We did touch on it yesterday. The WWE. The reason this, I guess, would matter is that the UFC, it felt like, was shopping new partners, but now with
TKO partnering with ESPN, you would think that it seems likely that both would end up there.
Yeah,
you would think.
So does this mean the UFC will maybe shop their pay-per-views and they keep the fight night structure? No idea. There's very little kind of. It's all speculation right now. There's very little. This news broke yesterday. We're all we don't even know what the direct-to-consumer $30 a month thing for ESPN is going to look like. Even though it looks like we'll have some answers in about 2 weeks. Like, I think it's going to launch on the 21st. I believe.
It's so confusing. Like, do I need to purchase this part of this is very difficult. Like,
right. I believe
there's a lot of if you have access to certain cable that it will come with it.
So I think is ESPN Plus can be separate?
You can still have ESPN. They are doing. We talked about messaging a little bit today. They have done an awful job on messaging this.
I believe I saw a report.
Awful.
So like if you have a streaming service, like if you have YouTube TV or something,
yes,
you will then you get the WWE.
You get all
PLEs.
of it, right? You get the whole kit and caboodle, which is everybody's balking at the $29.99. Like, this is insane. But what they didn't do a good job of messaging early on is like that's just for people that don't
have cable,
have access to
streaming.
ESPN already. Now, that's still a price too high.
So
it's still too high.
So it sounds like if you don't have cable, if you want ESPN Plus and
if you have cut
ESPN,
the cord and you want the whole deal, you want all of the ESPN stuff, then you've got to get this thing. But what are the layers of it? Like
is ESPN Plus included? We don't know if ESPN Plus is included.
In the $30 version, it is. For
it
sure.
is. It is.
Yes.
Okay. So
if
I
you're
get the UMBC lacrosse.
You
game.
get all of it.
Okay.
You get everything. Correct. You'll be able to hear my dulcet tones calling Loyola women's soccer next weekend. Believe it or not.
Wow, they start.
I got a pig roast on Saturday, and then we got a soccer match on Sunday.
Oh, that's why we couldn't move.
It's not the only reason. Like, Sunday's a really terrible day for. Imagine me trying to clean up and have everything done. I need some time afterwards to deal with it all. But yeah, you'll still get all of that. You'll also get all these other things. Dude, the messaging is wretched. And then it's like, what if I have a bundle? What does that mean for my bundle? Well, then apparently Hulu's going away. And they're just going to incorporate Hulu
into Disney? Or?
Disney Plus. Hulu will just all move to Disney Plus. So you won't need a bundle anymore. You'll just need Disney Plus, which inevitably means that Disney Plus is going to bump up to like $20 or something like that.
Well, but the bundle is already, I think it's like $18, I believe. The ESPN Plus, because that's what I use. The Disney, Hulu, and ESPN Plus bundle is like $18.
But do you also have cable still?
No, we have YouTube TV.
But that's so I think that qualifies. I think my understanding is that's going to qualify.
And so then the direct to consumer thing will not apply to me. I don't get any benefit from it.
Griffin, I don't want to say anything. I don't know.
You're supposed to know. I thought you were the ESPN guy.
What I know is that if you want to watch UFC pay-per-views, go to Live Casino and Hotel and Sports and Social inside. Why bother with any of these things? That will not stress you out at all. You can just say, this doesn't affect me. I will go to Live Casino and Hotel, and I will watch the fights there inside Sports.
So should I preview next week's pay-per-view then?
No.
Today?
No, should not do that.
All right, so quickly then. So
Quick.
last week, again, it was, as expected, it was a pretty lackluster card. There was not much of value in last week's UFC card. Tetsuo Taira dominated the short notice Hyun-Sung Park. Subbed him in early in round 2. I mean, he looked dominant, although it was kind of a bummer for him because it was just a bit of a lose-lose situation just because this guy was coming up, an unranked guy on short notice. He doesn't gain a whole lot. He's going to have to fight another ranked guy before he gets a chance at a title shot for Tetsuo Taira, but he looked great. Neil Magny rewinded the clock. He got a finish on his 38th birthday, so that was good for Neil Magny. And we got a 60-second knockout via liver kick from Rinya Nakamura. And he was fun because they were interviewing him afterwards, like, how are you going to celebrate in Vegas? And apparently there was like 8 different interviews, like separate interviews that they asked him this, and he's like, gamble. I'm going to gamble a lot.
Good for him.
Going to gamble.
Good for him. Hopefully he doesn't run into the blackjack dealer that I ran into.
They're coming against you? They were coming after you? So that was last week's card. We got another Apex card this week. This one's much better, at least on paper. Like, there's higher level fighters. Okay. There's fighters that are closer to title shots, or at least with title potential. The interesting part, though, is full of massive favorites. This is one where I think you could parlay almost every single favorite, and you may get away with it here. The ones that I did it, and because there's like 2 that I removed. It's the Julia Stoliarenko, and there was another fight. The first 2 fights I didn't bet, and then the Angela Hills fighting, I wouldn't bet that one as well. Otherwise, bet all the favorites and just parlay them.
Okay,
I like it. Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Dolidze. I like Anthony. The one prop I like a lot is Anthony Hernandez by round 4, 5, or decision. That's he goes from -3, like 80 to +105. If you take the round 4, 5 decision prop. So I like Anthony Hernandez there as all the favorites should take care of work. It's a great name or a great card for nicknames as well. You got Uros Medic, the Doctor. So his last name is spelled Medic, and then his nickname is the Doctor.
All right.
It's pretty good. Julius Juicebox Walker.
Yeah.
Eric your boy Anders, who's the Alabama football player.
Oh, okay.
He'll get knocked out though. Priscilla Cachueta is a zombie girl. She's gonna lose unfortunately too. Andre Touchy Feely is one of my personal favorites.
Touchy Feely.
His last name is Feely, and his nickname is Touchy Feely. I think he's gonna lose as well. Angela Overkill Hill, I love her. Obviously, she's the PG County native, but Overkill Hill is one of my favorites. The Jamaican sensation O'Day Osborne, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez in the main event. So I like all those. But yeah, Angela Hill is an interesting fight. She's 40 years old. She is fighting Yasmin Lucindo, who is 23 in a top 10 matchup at women's strawweight. Steve Urseg, former title challenger at flyweight, he'll be taking on O'Day Osborne, and then of course Roman Dolidze and Anthony Hernandez is the top 10 bout at middleweight. So those are the top 3 fights as well on the card. So I think they layered the card properly as well, and you've got some more exciting fights this weekend on the Apex card. And then elsewhere, not a whole lot boxing-wise. Apparently Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua could be gaining steam. Eddie Hearn was talking about it and basically said it comes down to Jake Paul wants it, because Jake Paul's going to lose to Anthony Joshua if he decides to box Anthony Joshua.
If it's on the up and up.
Nothing on John Jones or Gervonta Davis this week, which I guess maybe is a good thing.
Yeah,
the full Roach Davis fight from March got uploaded to YouTube if anybody wants to watch it. So
all right.
So that's out there. There's a PFL Africa card from Johannesburg.
Too much.
It's on the zone, so you can't really watch it.
Nope.
I love looking ahead. I love Lerone Murphy, who's an underdog right now against Aaron Pico on the 319 card.
Griffin, we'll talk about that.
I'm saying you got to get this value now because he's going to be a favorite by the time it's next Saturday night. Plus 130 Lerone Murphy over Aaron Pico.
All right.
I like. Who's the wrestler that I mentioned a couple weeks back that's coming over to the UFC. I don't like his chances against Lerone Murphy.
All right.
So Contender Series is back this
okay.
week.
Enough. Sorry.
Is it your segment? I don't know.
It's not my segment.
Why are you jumping in? Why are you cutting me off?
The content's not good enough. It's not you. It's what it is, man. All right, let's get a tidbit.
So Shea Langoliers.
Tidbit is brought to you. Oh no, we already did everything.
I think we covered.
Right, just tidbits brought to you by Griffin.
So Shea Langoliers had the 3 home run game. He is the 4th catcher with multiple 3 home run games.
Fourth catcher
with multiple 3 home run games. Any chance he can
ever?
Another 3? Yeah.
Piazza?
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah, it is kind of random, I guess.
Great.
One guy still active.
Johnny Bench.
Yes, Johnny Bench is on the list. I guess that's the only one that's not. Yeah, I mean,
Salvador Perez.
No. It's going to take you a while to get to the... I guess I should just give it to you.
Oh, good.
Longtime Braves backup-ish catcher.
Braves backup-ish catcher?
Yeah, like he played a lot sometimes, but, you know, didn't get a whole lot of regular playing time, I guess.
Didn't get a whole lot of Braves backup-ish. I don't know.
He's still active. Travis d'Arnaud.
Oh, Travis d'Arnaud. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, Travis d'Arnaud is the reason why we can't talk about Sam Darnold with Stan the Fan, because every time he says Sam Darnold, I swear to God, if he's ever in here on a Friday and we're talking about a Seahawks game for some reason, it's Sam Darnold every time. It's wild.
I blame Travis d'Arnaud. Thanks a lot, Travis.
And who's the other one?
Gary Carter.
I mean, that one he's a Hall of Famer.
Well, this wasn't the one I wanted to use as my tidbit anyway.
Christ.
So
all right.
Otherwise, the other one's longer. Whatever.
Oh, God.
What do we have to get out of here for today?
I want to start working on what trying to tighten
I'm trying
it
to
up.
give John in Little Rock, since he wants.
He's the
one.
one.
He wants. So it made me think about most multi-homer games. So just at least 2 home runs. By Orioles catchers. Most multi-homer games by Orioles catchers.
How many?
There are 6 guys that have had 4 multi-home run games.
Chris Hoyles.
Chris Hoyles is number 2 on the Orioles all-time list.
Adley Rutschman.
9 multi-homer games for Hoyles. Adley only has 2 right now.
Really?
Yeah, there's like 10 guys with 2, and then there's 6 guys with 4 or more.
How about Rick Dempsey?
Dempsey's on the list. 4 multi-homer games for Rick Dempsey.
I don't remember him, but I'll still try Wieters. Just because
Matt Wieters had 7 multi-homer games.
I'm sure he did. I just don't remember them. Now it's going to be a bit more random. Gus Triandos.
Gus Triandos is the leader in the Orioles clubhouse. 10 multi-homer games by a catcher.
So there's 2 more?
Correct.
Problem is we've knocked out the guys that have had like the longest stretches. So it's now Mickey Tettleton.
No, only 2 for Mickey Tettleton.
Javi Lopez.
Not Javi Lopez. 2 for Javi Lopez.
Charles Johnson.
Yes, Charles Johnson. 4 multi-homer games for Charles Johnson.
Ramon Hernandez.
There you go.
Oh,
4 for Ramon Hernandez. And then who's the one Orioles catcher with 3 home runs?
Is it somebody in that group?
No.
It's a different guy who had. Was it Hundley?
No. You'll kick yourself, I think, when you.
Because I remember it happening, and
Yeah.
I'm blanking on who it was. Teagarden?
No, not Teagarden.
All right, tell me. Remind me who it was.
It was, I think it was 2019, so it was, it was one of the terrible teams.
Chance Cisco.
No.
Beef Wellington.
18? No, not Beef Wellington.
Sucre.
Beef Wellington Castillo. No, not Jesus Sucre.
God.
Did Jesus Sucre hit any home runs as an Oriole?
I don't know. I'm just trying to remember who all these catchers were. Caleb?
No.
Wins?
No, I believe he was catching for Matt Wieters. John Means is a no-hitter. Obviously didn't hit the 3 home runs then.
No-hitter. I don't remember that. Severino?
Pedro Severino.
I don't remember him hitting
He had
3
home runs against Texas.
I don't remember
I think
that
2019.
at
It was either 2019 or 2021. I'm pretty
you
sure it was
say I would
19.
kick myself. I'm not kicking myself. I don't remember
You should
that.
be kicking
I have
yourself.
no recollection
How
of
dare you
Pedro
forget about
Severino
Pedro Severino.
hitting 3 home runs in a game.
He's got similar reverence to, honestly, Cedric Mullins in this town.
Something like that. All right, come on. We got to go. God, I hate you.
Okay, everybody, it's going to be quick today.
What was the main focus today, Coach?
Fundamentals, ball control. It's always huge.
Any early thoughts on the competition this year?
Well, look, this is the best of the best players in the world. It's going to be an amazing tournament.
Tournament?
Yeah, the BMW Championship at Caves Valley. What are you guys talking about? All they ever ask me about is football.
All right, here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise. As we mentioned, Ravens-Colts tonight, 7 o'clock, WBAL.
Go
also,
Ravens.
Sure. We're not going to say that at the end of the show.
Let's go. Come on.
It's also on NFL Network in the rest of the country. NFL Network will have Raiders-Seahawks at 10 o'clock following that.
Sweet, nice doubleheader.
You are really a degen.
Gets your John Harbaugh into Mike McDonald. What's that parlay? The Ravens-Seahawks just money line?
Yeah, you can get on that. Masson and MLB Network nationally for Athletics Nationals right now. MLB TV, the free game, Reds Pirates, 6:40. MLB
the
Network.
Colts are 6.5-point favorites.
Yeah, well, because they're playing their guys.
And
Yes.
All right, fine. Take the 6.5 points.
Okay.
And then the Seahawks are getting 4.5 points against the Raiders. All right, never mind. Maybe there's nothing here.
MLB Network, White Sox, Mariners, 4:10, Marlins, Braves, 7:15. Prime Video, Dream Sky at 8, Fever, Mercury at 10. The finals of the National Bank Open in Toronto are tonight. The Cincinnati Open gets underway. It's weird how that works, where they start the Cincinnati Open today.
2 level 1,000.
Yeah, and the finals in not just in Toronto and Montreal are tonight.
So does that just mean like the guys in the finals automatically get a bye?
Well, I think I think not everybody plays in the first round in Cincinnati, so that's they like where you don't have to play until Saturday or something like that. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but they do have a policy for that. The women's final is awesome. It's Vicky Mboko, the Canadian who's just come out of nowhere.
She was down. She lost the first set.
She lost the first set last night.
Killed.
She faced. She got broken, and she had to break back twice to force a tiebreaker in the third set. I mean, it was just incredible. But she gets Naomi Osaka, who's back in a Masters Series final for the first time in 3 years, since 2022. It's been a long road back for Naomi Osaka, so Osaka and Mboko. And then the men's final, Karen Khachanov, who was down match point to Alex Zverev last night, and it ticked off the tape. And if it had dropped on the other side, it would have been game over. It just happened to drop back on Zverev's side. So Khachanov wins there. He will face American Ben Shelton in the Toronto final tonight. So I will be watching that this evening, and Griffin will tell you all about the football game tomorrow.
I will, yeah.
And then Access for TNA Impact, which you might want to watch because tomorrow AJ Francis and Moose will be joining us in studio. Non-sports.
Celebrity Family Feud.
The PJ playoffs get underway. The St. Jude Championship round 1 today at 2 o'clock on Golf Channel.
It'll be the NFLPA Players Edition.
I think I saw Bart Scott is involved
really?
with that. I will not watch, but if it interests you.
Celebrity Family Feud on ABC tonight. Fallon's going to have the Jonas Brothers, Greg Gutfeld, and Good Charlotte.
Yeah. They're plugging
the preseason.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I mean, I guess Good Charlotte's probably Commanders fans. Good Charlotte, huge Orioles fans, massive Orioles fans. Like Benji and Joel have multiple Orioles tattoos. Like they couldn't be bigger Orioles fans. But I think they're Commanders fans.
Yeah, all-time low. That looks like when all-time low was
it was cool.
singing through the crowd.
Bananas,
Necaxa. There's a new series.
Who?
So Club Necaxa. Is it Necaxa?
I don't
the
know.
Mexican league team. So apparently Eva Longoria is like part of the ownership group. So they're doing this is their Wrexham. This is
trying to make it happen.
Yes, but Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds are involved in some way. So like I think they're like in the show and some. I'm not sure, but that's on FX. So obviously same channel as.
I'm gonna say no until everybody starts telling me about how much they enjoy it, and then I'll be like, damn it, fine.
Practical Jokers, we got that, of course. On Prime Video will be the Diana Taurasi, it's just Taurasi is in a docu-series about Diana Taurasi and her basketball career.
Say whatever you want. You want to know why late night is dying?
Why?
Because Jimmy Fallon's guests are the Jonas Brothers. Like the Jonas Brothers are not. You tuned into these shows because you would get a mega movie star to talk, right? Like the Jonas Brothers are a band.
Well,
I'm not saying they're not celebrities; they're very famous, but they're
Nick's
a band.
done some acting.
Yes, he was in the previous season of Righteous Gemstones, of course, but
of course,
sort of.
Well,
was that Nick or was that Joe? I don't know the difference.
Yeah, everybody loves Camp Rock.
Yeah. Anyway, the moral is like
you didn't watch Camp Rock?
That's not. They just bastardized it and said anyone who's noteworthy will put them on a show, and this is what you get. And for what it's worth, like I think Colbert is very. The CBS show is never something I've watched, but he started doing this with politicians, where like just because they're interesting.
He's got Senator Alex Padilla tonight on Colbert,
plugging Stephen Colbert,
plugging government.
Yeah, it still exists. Did you know?
No,
Lord,
I don't think so.
Yeah. All right, everything else. Just everything else on Clark Radio. We're going.
Oh, there's a Ted Bundy thing on Hulu. The dialogue with the devil. So
I gotta watch
the tapes from when he was helping
I gotta watch
them,
Deadly American Marriage this afternoon because we're doing that for book club. So that'll be what's on this screen when the show ends.
The Monkey is streaming on Hulu as well.
The what?
The Monkey.
What's the monkey?
Based on Stephen. It came out earlier this year, based on a Stephen King book.
Right. I thought it was maybe about like
dark comedy thriller.
I thought it was maybe about like Peter Tork. You don't know who that is. So
who's Peter Tork?
I'm wasting it.
Well, okay. Well, do I get to get educated or no?
Peter Tork was part of a television show about a fictional band called the Monkees.
Oh, okay.
But the Monkees released like music, they released music like a band. It's a very complicated. Mickey Dolenz and Davy Jones.
Oh, like Love Handle from Phineas and Ferb.
I don't think it's like Love Handles from Phineas and Ferb.
Sorry, not Handles. It's just Love Handle.
Thanks today to Buck Showalter. Thanks also to Brandon Butterworth.
Love Handle probably better than
and Rick Venturi. We'll get all that up in the greatest hits section of the Say His Name and He Appears.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. You know, AJ and Joe Hendry, they've had a long rivalry.
Really?
That could be awkward tomorrow.
I'll have to study up.
When I tell
when I
tell him that you're a Joe Hendry guy.
Who isn't?
Coming up on the program tomorrow.
He's probably a Joe Hendry guy.
Yeah, our friends AJ Francis and Moose from TNA Wrestling will be in studio with us. Also tomorrow.
Trevor Rogers.
That's noteworthy.
Yeah.
He's good.
He did well yesterday.
Yeah, he's good.
Pat Kerwin is scheduled to join us.
Yeah, from NFL Network
and,
Radio.
Jake Butt as well.
Who?
Jake Butt.
Jake Butt. Yes, sorry. I couldn't hear what you said. I'm like, what?
Jake Butt.
Yeah, Jake Butt, who was also in College Park earlier this week for Big Ten Network. So we'll talk to all of them. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Game Day Men's Health, Live Casino and Hotel, the BMW Championship, Crown Trophy, Maryland 5-Star, Easy Pass, Baltimore's Classic 5 Golf Courses, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Costas Inn, Maryland Sports, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Thursday evening. Go nobody. Duke sucks.